Than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Heat guard Jimmy Butler kept playing last night after hurting his right knee, but now ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski says that knee will keep Butler out of action for several weeks. The Heat host the Bulls tomorrow night for the 8th seed in the East. With the unprecedented popularity now of women's college basketball, what would happen if they allowed one-and-done players? UConn coach Gino Auriemma.
Well, it depends whether you want the game to grow or whether you want to kill it. If you want to kill it, then let the kids leave after freshman year. On the men's side, it's become transactional. Everybody's a free agent. Everybody's a mercenary.
Gino Auriemma on Unsportsmanlike. LSU guard Haley Van Lith will transfer to TCU for her final season of eligibility. Van Lith averaged 12 points and 4 assists a game during her one season with the Tigers. Former Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins signs a one-year deal with the Chargers, and it's official. The Arizona Coyotes will move to Salt Lake City for next season. For the last 2 years, they played at Arizona State in a 5,000-seat arena.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America. Close Shave Barbasol.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We got a ton to do today. We'll preview Pels-Kings heading out to Sacramento. We got the best possible landing spot for Jaden Daniels. LSU running back commit JT Lindsay next hour. NFL draft analyst Chris Trapasso in hour 3. A ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, the portal window has swung wide open, and as you would expect, LSU is going to be active. Brian Kelly has told us point blank that LSU is targeting a defensive tackle help in the portal, and so every time a notable defensive tackle hits the portal, we're going to talk about it. And just as a quick reset and refresher, a year ago, LSU needed numbers at defensive tackle. Remember, they were so thin numbers-wise that a year ago they went and they added Jordan Jefferson. Even though you had Mason Smith coming back off the injury, you went and added Jalen Lee, you got Paris Shan, you added Braden Swinson. They needed bodies on that defensive front. This year, it's flipped. You don't necessarily need bodies. What you need is valuable experience, okay? You've got Jacobian Guillory, who's a fifth-year player, but in his career, Jacobian Guillory has 51 tackles. You've got Jalen Lee, who's entering his fifth year as well, but in his career, Jalen Lee's got 30 tackles going into his fifth year, right? You've got Dominic McKinley and Demiron Johnson coming in. A couple of freshmen you're very excited about. You brought in Sean Washington, who's a JUCO player, went Georgia, JUCO, now LSU. Again, you've got bodies. You moved Kimo Makanayole to defensive tackle. You've got bodies. Preston Hickey, the North Shore kid from St. Paul's who spent his freshman season at Oklahoma State, came in last year, got a lot of run in the two deep. in spring ball. You've got bodies. What you don't have are accomplished starting caliber players. And that's the biggest difference in the portal era now, is you're not necessarily saying, let me just feel it out and see if my guy who's waited his turn can elevate his game. It's, why take that risk when you can go get a guy who is an accomplished Power 5 starter, plug and play? So that's kind of where LSU is. They're not looking for numbers. It's what Brian Kelly has said over and over again. Not necessarily looking to build through the portal. His first year at LSU, they added 19 players via the transfer portal because they had to. Last year, they added about 9 or 10 via the portal. It's going to be a smaller number this year, but it's going to be premium where you're adding at positions of absolute need with premium players. CJ Daniels, Xavier Thomas. Now what they do at defensive line, we're going to find out. And the name worth keeping an eye on that jumped into the portal on Thursday is Simeon Barrow. And Simeon Barrow is a defensive tackle from Michigan State. Originally from Georgia, he was a 3-star. He was the number 783 overall prospect in the country when he was coming out of high school. And he goes up to Michigan State there in the Big Ten, and he ends up being a 4-year starter. Now, the other interesting thing about Simeon Barrow is this is the 4th time that Simeon Barrow has entered the transfer portal. This is the 4th time. Each of the previous 3, Michigan State has reeled him back on in, brother. They got him by big old dude. Where's number 8? Big old 310-pound interior defensive lineman who wears number 8. I love that on a big guy. The single digit on a big guy. But anyway, this is what you're talking about here, okay? Simeon Barrow is a guy who, in his 4 seasons with the Spartans, has started 34 games, okay? And in 34 career starts, he's got 110 tackles, 18.5 for loss, 10.5 sacks. Let me put that into perspective for you, okay? And again, this isn't a knock, it's just an illustration, all right? So I mentioned Jacobian Guillory. By the way, Brian Kelly raved about Jacobian Guillory at the end of spring. When we was talking about finding the other starter. The thing he said about Jacobian Guillory is, like, he's become... Do you have it? This was Brian Kelly talking about Jacobian Guillory a couple days ago.
In terms of stopping the run, Jacobian Guillory has been outstanding. I mean, he's singularly been, I think, in terms of what Bo Davis is looking for, he's been outstanding, and he's been a stalwart. We got to find the other guy, and that's what we're looking for. We're trying to develop that second.
Outstanding. He's been out. Jacobian Guillory's been outstanding. We're looking for the second guy. Okay. Jacobian Guillory, 39 career games played, 51 tackles, 2 for loss, a half a sack. And I love Jacobian. Great dude from Ash, Alexandria Senior High, 5th year, waited his turn. He's ready to take that step, and I think he will. But again, 39 games played, 51 tackles, and he's been outstanding. Run stopper, all that. Simeon Barrow, 34 games played, 110 tackles. Fewer games, twice the production that the guy who's been outstanding for you, who's one of your guys, has. That's what we're illustrating, what they're trying to add. So we talked about it. They've offered C.J. West out of Kent State. They've offered Philip Bleedy out of Indiana. Simeon Barrow is another guy now that you better believe is going to be in the mix. We talked a day ago about Dominic Williams out of TCU. I've mentioned there's another player with Louisiana ties, waiting to see if that name surfaces and pops, but one that I've been told. So, look, LSU is not going to get all of these guys, okay? They're not going to get all the guys. They're not going to get West and Bleedy and Williams and Barrow. They're not going to get all of them. But can you get 2? Can you get 1 or 2 of the guys I just mentioned? If you do, you're immediately and dramatically better at your weakest position going into the 2024 season. And you give Bo Davis a lot more ingredients with which to cook on that defensive front in 2024. Again, you have numbers. You've got Guillory. You've got Lee. You've already got Gio Paez, the 6-year player coming down from Wisconsin. You've got Shone Washington. You've got numbers. You've got bodies to rotate, to keep guys fresh. What you're missing is the accomplished starter, and that's why you can very clearly see what caliber of player LSU is targeting at that position in the portal. So throw Simeon Barrow's name out of Michigan State into that mix as well. All right, show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of the Tigers, great taste of the champs. Hey, our friends over at Mockler are going to be great partners of Smoke 'em If You Got 'em a week from Sunday. Our buddy Clay Young puts that on every year, benefiting great military charities. So the Special Arms, the Special Forces Foundation Trust as well, which provides scholarships to the families of wounded and fallen soldiers and military. It's a great organization, and Mockler is always a great sponsor and a great partner of that. It's coming up a week from Sunday. I'll look forward to being there as well. They're so involved with our community, as they've been for 4 decades. Mockler Beverage and the great taste of Bud Light. So drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging with us here. As I mentioned, we've got a ton to do. I want to circle back because if you missed it today, Tom Luginbill spotlighted another defensive player that he says the best landing spot would be LSU. I happen to disagree with Luginbill, but I'll get to that in just a little bit. We're going to knock out our first break of the show. When we come back, Frankie Cartoscelli is going to be here. He covers the Kings for SacktownSports.com. Great news organization out in Sacramento, part of an awesome media group that includes like ArizonaSports.com and DenverSports.com and SeattleSports.com. They're a phenomenal company, Bonneville out there. And Frankie is the Kings reporter for SacktownSports.com, and he's going to join us when we come back. I want to talk a little bit about the Kings, who scored a dramatic win over Golden State. Now they got to travel and play a Pelicans team that has owned them this year. So we'll get a little thumbnail on the game, the final playing game, which is, of course, tomorrow night in New Orleans. So Frankie Cartoscelli is going to be with us. And JT Lindsay, mentioned it in the open there, but JT Lindsay, LSU running back commit out of Alexandria Senior High. Speaking, we're just talking about Jacobian. JT Lindsay is going to be with us here in about an hour and 20 minutes, bottom of hour 2, so you won't want to miss that. We're glad you're hanging out. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local. Y'all, the weather is awesome. Spring has sprung. And every day, every week I communicate with Miss Teresa over there at Clegg's. She's awesome and keeps us up to date with everything that's going on, even when I can't get in to the store. But my goodness, what a great selection right now of hibiscus plants. You want to add a pop of color to your patio pots. That's a great way to do it. Erica loves dipaldenias. That's her favorite. It's a beautiful summertime tropical flower, tons of color, and they thrive, just out in the sun where, it's going to... Look, the sun in the summertime is a relentless beast. Now, but those things thrive every year out by our pool. Couldn't recommend it highly enough, but find whatever's perfect for you. Maybe you have something that needs more shade, or you have more shaded area. Whatever it is, the folks at Clegg's can help. Buy local, shop local, tell them Ed sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150s, $10,000 off the new F-150 truck, plus 1.9% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, rolling along here on a Thursday edition of AFR. One other quick note. We're going to get to Frankie Cartoscelli here in just a quick second. Sacktown Sports Talk, Pels Kings. Haley Van Lith today announced her transfer to TCU. One other note as well. The LSU gymnastics squad, they're a national semifinal meet. They're in the first half of the national semifinal. They started about 3:30, so in about 15 minutes. It sucks. We'll be on air while it's happening. But the team that probably has the best chance of any team in LSU history to win the national championship, the next step in that process, starts here in about 15 minutes, so we'll keep you posted. So it was a devastating loss for New Orleans, both at home on Sunday and then in the play-in. And now Friday is do or die. They got to beat Sacramento if they're going to keep the season going. But the Pels have had a tremendous amount of success against Sacramento, 5-0 this year. Let's head out to Sacramento. Frankie Cartoscelli from SacktownSports.com, good enough to join us. A little Paisan. It's a the Musso, the Moscona, and the Frankie Cartoscelli. Frankie, how are you, man?
Arrivederci.
Hey!
Thank you for having me, man. Forget about it. Thank you for having me on.
Forget about it. How do they even handle you out in Sacramento, man?
Man, I get a lot of jokes out here about Sopranos, Goodfellas, The Godfather, but I do have a very Italian name. It comes with the territory, and I guess it's a fun one to have, all things considered, to be a 29-year-old with the name Frank. So I guess that's the way we roll.
Bellissimo. And from your Twitter bio, I see you're a diehard Yankee fan, so you and I are kindred spirits. We got a lot of vowels in our name. You have beautiful hair. I have no hair whatsoever, but we're going to get along great until tip-off tomorrow night, Frankie. Then it's war, friend. Hey, why have the Pelicans dominated the Kings this year?
I mean, it's a great question, and one that I think you can kind of go back to a trend for the Sacramento Kings, which is over the past year plus, even last year, on their ascension to, out of the cellar of the Western Conference. They've really struggled with teams that have a lot of length and a lot of size. And obviously the Pelicans are a team where C.J. McCollum at 6'3", I mean, everybody else in that starting five. I mean, Zion won't be playing tomorrow, but Trey Murphy, you can slide up into that role as well. All 6'7", 6'8", or taller. So the Kings really have struggled with those teams that can bring size advantages, physicality. The Kings really have struggled in that area as well. And I think that on the glass, we've seen the Pelicans completely dominate the Kings. And I kind of would say it's just the fact that the Kings are a little small, and especially right now at a time where they're playing without Kevin Huerter, who is not someone you look at for strength in that starting lineup, but someone who is about 6'6", with a long wingspan. So they're a little shorthanded tomorrow night, and we'll see if 6 times a charm, but they definitely struggle with the Pelicans and that big front line.
You mentioned Huerter, but Monk's also out. How can you? We can quantify it, right, with numbers, but can you qualify how big of a deal it is for Sacramento not having those two guys?
I mean, without making excuses for them, and they won't make excuses for themselves either. But I mean, it's huge. I mean, Malik Monk, outside of De'Aaron Fox, a guy who he's an engine that makes his team go. Domantas Sabonis has been very valuable with what he does as well, and I'm not going to discredit what he does. But De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk are very kind of simpatico with the fact that when Fox is out of the or out on the bench, Monk can come in and just kind of continue to facilitate offense, and he's a player that can create damage, whether it's getting into the paint and drawing fouls or finding teammates. He averaged about 5 assists per game this year, which is a career high for him, and the ability to get hot. Just as a volume scorer, the Kings really only have 2 guys that you can look at and say they're really going to be a problem for us tonight, and that's De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk. And with Malik Monk sidelined, you're having to see what we saw from Keegan Murray the other night, which is great for his growth, but not realistic to expect Keegan Murray to go off for 32 points every night on 8 of 13 from 3. So I think it's a big loss for the Kings, but obviously on the other side of things, Zion Williamson not playing, that's a massive loss. So hard to say there'll be any excuses for either side because they're both playing shorthanded, but Malik Monk being out definitely hurts this Kings team.
I know you wrote about this over at SacktownSports.com, and we talked about it yesterday on the show, but what's interesting is there was one game this year where the Pels and the Kings played where Zion didn't play, and it was the most lopsided. The Pels led by as many as 50 in that game and ended up winning 133-100. Jog our memory on that game. How did that get so out of hand?
Really, there was nobody to stop the bleeding. In looking at, I think I posted that box score yesterday, and it's one that is super just stunning to look at from a Kings perspective, from people that watch the game. This team play every night, an offense-oriented team. De'Aaron Fox has been completely taken out of, in that game especially, but over the course of the season, he's averaging 21 points per game on 40% shooting from the field, 24% from 3. That night, he scored single-digit 3 points. So that's kind of where I look at and say, if De'Aaron Fox isn't able to pull the Kings out of a tailspin, things get ugly very quick because he is, like I said, the engine that makes that team go. But that night, on a night where Zion wasn't playing, that's kind of the beginning of the C.J. McCollum problem, where has Zion Williamson given the Kings problems? Absolutely. But I feel like with the Pelicans, it's been multiple suspects as far as Brandon Ingram has given the Kings fits at times. C.J. McCollum has scored 30 points, I believe, twice against the Kings. I think he had 8 threes the last time they played just a week or so ago. So that's the kind of the Kings' problem is the Pelicans have multiple players who have been thorns in their side for this season and even beyond. And even that's why a lot of us out here that cover the team in Sacramento, it's kind of like a joke now. When a team is missing a big player or a notable player, people out here kind of hang their heads and go, here we go again, because the Kings have had a problem with falling to these shorthanded teams. So that 33-point loss, could it be because the Kings let their guard down against a shorthanded team? Maybe. I think it's that and the fact that they are not a good matchup for New Orleans, but it's just kind of a trend for this team. They've fallen short or dropped the ball against shorthanded teams time and time again, but the Pelicans, the plus side for them is they have multiple guys who can hurt the Kings.
This is, and Frankie Cartoscelli is with us here for a couple more minutes. SacktownSports.com. You want coverage of the Kings that come in to play the Pels on Friday night. You can get it there, SacktownSports.com. I'm curious your thoughts also just on playoff experience, like how much it matters. It's a Kings team that won 48 games a year ago, got to play the Warriors. Anything that you have a feeling, a lean one way or the other just on the playoff experience component of this?
I think it definitely matters. And with the Kings, specifically, they've really struggled down the final stretch of this year against teams that have just tons of playoff experience. They had a lead against Phoenix with a minute left. They were up by 4 and had the ball, and just mental errors down the stretch costing the game. Same with Dallas. They needed to get one of 2 games against the Mavericks a couple weeks ago if they wanted to stay in the mix for a top 6 seed, and they lost both. One of them in very close fashion where they also let things get out of hand. So I think the Kings are a good team. They have a exciting group, a young group, but Domantas Sabonis, most of his playoff experience came on the bench while he was playing in Oklahoma City, and when he was very, very raw with Indiana for a first-round appearance. Then the one guy they have that really has the most experience is Harrison Barnes, who, as we know now, is a 4th, 5th option on the Kings, and someone who has been very polarizing out here in Sacramento with his production and in light with his contract. So I think it definitely matters, and I think the Pelicans with C.J. McCollum, all those Portland teams he's been on, and obviously with the Pelicans and down the line, Valanciunas has been around the league for a long time. It's kind of, I think, maybe equal almost on that end, but I do think it matters somewhat, and these teams both will, if they can win tomorrow night, can use that to their advantage, hopefully, against an OKC team that doesn't have any playoff experience. So it's kind of an interesting thing, an interesting wrinkle to it all, that these teams both might not have a ton of playoff experience, but if they can win tomorrow night, they're going to face a team with even less than OKC.
What do you think is the formula for Sacramento on Friday night?
It's going to be the defensive end. Just the number we've all been throwing around here is 50%, because The Pelicans have shot 50% from three against the Kings a couple times this year. I have it right here at 45% over against the Kings this season. So if they can contain the Pelicans from the perimeter, which is a tall task, I feel like the Kings will have a much better chance. But it really, to me, again, I keep saying it over and over, but I mean it. De'Aaron Fox really is the piece. I think if he has a big game, the Kings are very hard to beat, and the Pelicans have done a very good job. And Herb Jones is definitely the reason why. But Jones and the rest of the Pelicans have really held him in check. And when he's not on, the Kings don't. Their offense does not really work. So at a time where they're shorthanded without Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk, and of course the other guys that have stepped up, in Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray, they could have big nights again too. But you can't really expect that. So if the Pelicans hold De'Aaron Fox in check, it could be a long night for Sacramento and possibly the end of the line.
It's always a little nerve-wracking when you wake up on a day where you know your season could come to an end. That's the reality for the Pels and the Kings. 8:30 local time tip on Friday night from the Blender. It'll be televised on TNT. He's a Frankie Cartoscelli. We got a Musso. Hey. We got a Moscona. We got a Cartoscelli. Paisan out on the West Coast. Hey. We need a little Mambo Italiano muse. Maybe a little of That's Amore. We'll work it in. Frankie, we appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for the time.
Matt, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. Good luck to you guys.
All right, thanks, man. Be well. It is After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Let me just stop there. I always say all the other things, but let me just stop and highlight energy-efficient replacement windows. They'll do this test when you go to Relief Windows where they'll take a regular glass pane window and their energy-efficient window, and they have like a lamp above it. And they'll put a thermometer beneath it so you can see the temperature difference between regular glass windows and these energy-efficient windows. And it makes sense. If you're lowering the temperature by resisting the heat from the sun, reducing the costly air leaks, it's keeping your AC is not having to work as hard. It's keeping your energy bills lower during the summer months. Give yourself some relief. Relief from the heat, relief from high energy bills. It's energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. These are an investment into your home that will increase your home's resale value and come with a lifetime, let me say this slowly, a lifetime transferable warranty, meaning you sell your home, the warranty transfers to the next homeowner on labor, material, and glass breakage. They're the best. They're just the best. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Mike Brown, after the Kings beat the Warriors, had this to say about his team taking on the Pels at the Blender on Friday.
We know what we have to do against New Orleans, and we know we can't relax against them. They're a very, very good team. They're well coached. They got length. They got shooting. They got inside scoring. Hey, our formula is the same. We got to hit first. We got to hit second. We got to hit third. We got to get out in transition and not play against their set defense all the time. And we have to have different guys step up like tonight.
Pels are 5-0 against Sacramento. And I know you could say, well, it's hard to beat a team 6 times. Well, it's hard to beat a team 5 times and 4 times and 3 times. But sometimes you're just a bad matchup. And the Pels' length has been a bad matchup for Sacramento. And I mean, the Pels are a slight favorite. Actually, forgive me, I'm looking at the odds right here. And Sacramento is a 1.5 favorite in this ballgame. I don't love betting on the home teams because I always feel like I don't trust myself implicitly to remove all bias. But when you've beaten a team 5 out of 5 times and done so handily, I get it. You're not going to have Zion, but you've blown the doors off of this team without Zion before. My bigger concern becomes, okay, if you have to play OKC without Zion, which would seem very likely, now I don't know how you advance past that series. But got to win on Friday night first. See if they can. All right, thanks to Frankie Cartoscelli. We appreciate a couple of minutes. We'll now get a quick break. Thursday edition of AFR. When we come back, we'll go around the SEC. Gail Benson's. Hey, speaking of Italians, Gail Benson's hanging out there in Rome with the Pope. Well, we'll be an Italian Friday music. It's gonna be all Italian music on Friday. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources. glowresources.com. Glow Resources. They are complete employer solutions. I can't stress this enough. If you own a business and you're struggling to find qualified people who want to work, maybe you're dealing with turnover, Maybe you're hiring people that don't actually work out, and so you're dealing with a lot of that turnover. You need to call Glow Resources. Don't think of Glow Resources as a last-ditch solution for your hiring. Think of them as a first option. When you need to hire skilled blue-collar workers, that you want to build a career with you, Glow Resources. If you're looking to hire C-level management and you want help throughout that process, finding and vetting and hiring, you want Glow Resources. And yes, their corporate office, Baton Rouge, but they've got Miami, New Orleans, Dallas, Houston, offices all over. It's Glow Resources. GlowResources.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The Dreams Come True Radiothon is presented today by Service Chevrolet. Donate today at 1045ESPN.com. And in 30 minutes, starts the Power Hour for today, where, of course, if you go, donation.
Oh, no.
What? Where you go to 1045ESPN.com, a donation of at least $5 ending in 45 cents, you're entered to win 2 VIP passes to the Zurich Classic for Sunday, April the 28th. That's in 30 minutes. We'll remind you again in the 4 o'clock hour.
Okay. Paulie had me nervous. He was ad-libbing. I didn't want to repeat it last week. Did you go pull that from last week? We got to pull last week's power. Woo!
No, we don't. We don't.
I think we do.
No.
I mean, the grand scheme of failed promo reads in the history of not only this station, I would say in all of radio. That's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Hey.
You didn't make it through a line of that thing. Not a single line without a flub.
Hall of Fame's Hall of Fame, man. What can I say?
Major Hall of Shame, perhaps you could call it. Gail Benson's over there in Rome with the Pope. You saw this. She's on a 10-day trip to Rome and Germany. She's meeting members of the Papal Foundation. This is from our buddy Fletcher Mackel, who tweeted this. Business, tourism groups, sharing a vision for investment in New Orleans and the renovation of St. Louis Cathedral. I think a lot of people know that Mrs. Benson met Tom Benson when she was trying to get him to donate to the renovation of St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans, there in Jackson Square. That's how they initially met. And if I understand, like, the reason that he was willing to give, he was trying to cozy up to Mrs. B. How about a sly dog, huh?
He's got game. I mean, Tom's got a little riz, as the kids would say these days.
What you need, man? A little power wash on the outside. You need a little refinish on those the stained glass windows. Gotcha. How about we talk about it over dinner?
There you go.
What a guy. Anyway, so Mrs. Benson brought the Pope a custom Saints jersey, and it says Papa Francesco on it. And it's number 1. The best thing I saw is, like, do you think Alontae Taylor's pissed that he's got to change his number?
Hey, man, he's sharing a number with the Pontiff, man. That's
you can't share numbers.
That's true.
The NFL. You can't have duplicate numbers. It's what it is, man. Anyway, so Mrs. Benson's over there in Rome talking to the Pope. That's kind of cool. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. The other sort of newsworthy item just a bit ago, if you missed it, Haley Van Lith is her transfer destination is known. She, of course, was at Louisville and then transferred from Louisville to LSU, and now Haley Van Lith, third team in as many years, she'll head to TCU over in Fort Worth. I'll tell you, from an LSU perspective, it's probably good news because the other team that seemed to be the front runner, one of the front runners there for Haley Van Lith, was Mississippi State. And so, I mean, I'm nothing if not consistent when I talk about transfers. I am all about these players having the opportunity to seek the best possible situation for themselves. So it'd be so hypocritical to try to limit with it, intra-conference transfers or anything like that. So good on Haley Van Lith. Go find your best spot. Do you. But it really would have sucked if you lose a good player and then you have to compete against that player. So the fact that Haley Van Lith is leaving LSU to go TCU is much more palatable than if she was leaving to go to Mississippi State. And again, I'm going to repeat this. There will be no Haley Van Lith slander allowed here because she was one of the leading scorers in America, left Louisville, came to Baton Rouge. You didn't have a point guard in what should have been her draft season, changed positions because that's what was best for her team, and it still averaged 12 points a game and did something that was unfamiliar with her late in her career. So now she's going to go a place where they're going to give her a green light and say, go score 20 a night. Go be the next Caitlin Clark, and see how that suits her as more of a two-guard. So salute to Haley Van Lith. She did a very team-oriented thing here in 2020, the 2023-2024 season for the Tigers, and wish her well. Haley Van Lith headed to TCU. Okay, we'll go around the SEC here in just a smidge. Reminder about Pure Restoration. Love telling you about Pure Restoration. Hey, if you ever go into a building, maybe it's your work building, maybe it's a gym, maybe you own a restaurant, and you have bad odor. Like, what if you have an industrial kitchen, you have grease and just kitchen odor. What if you own a gym, a workout facility? Maybe it's a high school locker room. God, I can still smell the high school locker room where we put our football pads, and guys who wouldn't wash their pads, their helmets, it would just reek. You can take care of that easily. Pure Restoration can come in, patented non-toxic dry fog. They spray the fog. You let it dwell. It kills all the bacteria, the mold, the spores, everything. And as soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in free and clear, totally mold-free. It's a great sanitization product for schools or office buildings or medical facilities. It's Pure Restoration. Learn more at pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. You can read the full U.S. Army Corps of Engineers report. It's Pure Restoration. Or just message me and say, Scone, what's the mold thing you always talk about? It's Pure Restoration. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
The Auburn Tigers.
Johni Broome will return to Auburn for his senior season. What a get for Bruce Pearl. Led Auburn in scoring this year at 16.5 points a game. Broome was a consensus third-team All-American as a 6'10 forward out of Plant City, Florida, returning to Auburn.
The Florida Gators.
Florida has got a commitment from 6'11", 245-pound transfer center Ruben Chinelu, originally from Nigeria. Also had offers from Rutgers and Tennessee. The Washington State transfer, though, headed to Gainesville. Played in 35 games this past season for the Cougs with 12 starts.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Wide receiver Justin Robinson has entered the transfer portal. Caught 21 balls for 257 yards a season ago. But remember, Mississippi State's offense stunk. So Xavion Thomas, now Justin Robinson. Also Ladietrick Griffin. I never say his name right. Anyway, he's gone pro, but everybody else is all gone for that Mississippi State offense. So uphill climb for Jeff Levy. Remember, Robinson started his career at Georgia, went to Mississippi State. Now he'll be at his third school.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas rising junior punter Max Fletcher has hit the portal. He averaged 47 yards a punt a year ago. He was second team All-SEC. So this means now junior Devin Bale, a Northern Colorado transfer, is the front runner to be the starting punter for Arkansas in 2024. But maybe, just maybe, Max Fletcher could be a target for LSU, considering they haven't really gotten the consistency out of Peyton Todd that they wanted.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And Vandy baseball has moved their game tonight, the Thursday game against Florida, up to 5 p.m. due to weather. That's 5 Eastern, 4 Central. So first pitch here in about 20 minutes from right now. Game will be on the SEC Network instead of ESPNU. Vandy 8-7, Florida 7-8. It'll be Bryce Cunningham against Brandon Neely. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Looking up at the TVs in studio as we're moving here through hour number one, the national semifinals are underway there for gymnastics. It's LSU, Arkansas, Stanford, and Cal in this quartet. And then the evening rotations will go as well. The top two from each advance to Saturday's national championship, the Final Four, the four on the floor. So LSU starting on vault. Arkansas is on beam. Looks like Cal is on floor and Stanford is on bars. That's the first rotation. So LSU being the highest ranked, highest scoring gets a start on vault. So LSU will go vault, bars, beam, floor, the order that you'd want to go. So an advantage for LSU there. It was KJ Johnson first up. As I look, it looks like she got a 9.8, 92.5? Correct. 92.5? Okay. 92.5 to start. So, all right, we'll keep you posted as we move throughout. But just know if LSU needs to be one of the top, this will only take about less than 2 hours. These meets are less than 2 hours. But LSU needs to be one of the top two here among these four. If they do, they advance to the national championship on Saturday. We'll keep you posted. All right, it's after further review. We'll not get a break. Come back, wrap up hour number one. Interesting draft conversation with Bill Belichick and Pat McAfee. If you want to hear something wild, Bill Belichick sounding like a normal human being checks that box. We'll get to it next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Got this 5-star Google review from Jeff Blanchard. Said, Corey, the technician, and his crew did a great job replacing the AC and heating unit. They were nice, courteous, and cleaned up when they were done. Another 5-star Google review. You know, one of the things that I say so much when I talk about River City's 1 Hour Air is, look, you can shop around, and you could probably find Chuck in a truck who will do an install or something better for you, or cheaper for you, but you'll never find anybody do it better. And one of the most interesting things is the number of calls that River City's 1 Hour Air gets from customers who are having an issue with their AC that they didn't install. So essentially, you hire someone else to install it. They did a poor job, and you call River City's 1 Hour Air to come fix it because they do the best work. Save yourself the time and the energy and the stress and the money. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 988.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
You know, one of the most interesting things is whenever coaches leave the profession and go into media, and the people who spend their entire careers trying to tell the media nothing, and you have endless amounts of sound, useless sound. Levitard used to do a funny bit on Mondays after the NFL weekend called the Useless Sound Montage, where we just mash up a whole bunch of sound bites from coaches saying absolutely nothing. And then they get into media and you realize how much they actually have to say. And it's pretty fascinating. It's why I would always joke when Les Miles was the coach that I was fluent in lessese. Like I could translate Les Miles. I listened to him so much. But it was so interesting listening to Bill Belichick, who, if you've missed it, Belichick is joining ESPN for this season. And on draft night, he's going to be part of the Pat McAfee draft night special coverage, whatever. And so to announce this, he announced it naturally on the McAfee show. So here's Bill Belichick talking about, like, even though he's not coaching, he's still watching film.
Watching the players, specifically the ones that might be involved in our show. So the guys in the top part of the draft. But the first round leads into the second round, and there's a lot of correlation there. So we'll talk about that next Thursday night. But just trying to do some preparation and follow up. I watched a lot of these guys in the fall, and even some from last year when they were juniors or when they weren't coming out, but they were still factors in evaluating the players in the 23 draft. So it's just kind of an ongoing process, and it's fun to keep up with. I always enjoy this part of the season.
That was a 34-second answer. 34 seconds. Upbeat, peppy. I enjoy this. Bill Belichick. I enjoy this part of the year. What did he say about, man? What is this? Like here's Coach. Now contrast that to Coach Bill Belichick.
I guess, man.
A 1-second answer where he said, what was the question?
They were asking him about the consistency of the Colts and what the most consistent part is, and he said, I guess Manning.
Oh, like play number 3. Here's Belichick. More on the Bill Belichick talking about the draft.
for the most part, teams have one pick. They have one choice there on Thursday night to do the best they can to improve their team, whatever that is, whether it's trade up, trade down, take a guy. And honestly, there are teams that look at it as they're willing to take more risk for more upside. And then other times you want the conservative pick and you want to, I want to know that I got a good player. Maybe there's another guy on the board. It could be great, but maybe there's more of a chance that he could also not work out. So look, we know historically the wide receivers and quarterbacks in the first round are really a 50-50 proposition in the long run.
You can't get the guy to shut up.
He's giving out stats.
It's a 50-50 proposition. It sounded like you could hear. It sounded like Pat was about to jump in, and Bill kept going. Contrast that to Coach Bill Belichick.
Well, we'll find out on Saturday. I could just Xerox you a copy of the game plan. You can send it over to Kansas City if you got it. I mean, it might be easier for all of us.
At least he had a joke in there.
Yeah.
A little bit of a joke in there. Oh, man. They asked him about the onside kick stuff. Bill got jokes. He got jokes.
I don't like that they took the surprise onside kick out of it, although I wish that rule had been out when we played against you, Pat, because we always had to put another two guys over there to handle the spike kick, even though you never did it against us, but you did it against other teams, and that always screwed up our kickoff returns. So I wish that rule had been in place when we played against you, but it wasn't.
He's a normal human. He's got personality. You'd have never known it when he was coaching.
What, like when Corey Dillon ran for 1,600 yards? Would I be against that? Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, my God. He's going to be great on TV.
Yeah.
The man's won 6 Super Bowls. He's got a wealth of knowledge, not just as a coach, but he was also the GM of the Patriots. So, he's done all the draft trades, and he's been in all the meetings and all of this stuff. He's got an incredible perspective. Dare I say, a truly unique perspective, a one of one from a man who's the only coach to win 6 Super Bowls. And he actually has a little bit of a personality when he's not just trying to mumble through press conference answers. Kind of looking forward to it a little bit. Belichick will be on the McAfee show. Now, I would highly encourage you not to watch Bill Belichick on the McAfee draft show, and you come join us at Don Juan Cigar Bar. And if you can't be at Don Juan, watch our draft spectacular. It'll be all of our staff from 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We'll be over at Don Juan on Thursday, 1 week from today. So we'll crank up the live stream at 7 o'clock. We'll go for as long as the first round lasts. Y'all come join us at Don Juan Cigar Bar. It'll be a lot of fun. It's after further review. What do I have time for here? There's coming up after the top of the hour. We do have a lot of draft stuff today. Chris Trapasso, CBS Sports Draft Analyst, going to be here in hour 3. And after the top of the hour, I kind of dug into this a little bit about what I think is the best landing spot for Jaden Daniels. Considering, I'm not sure if you noticed it, but Jaden's going to have a pretty extensive visit with with Minnesota today in Baton Rouge. I'll get to that after the top of the hour. But there's another interesting tidbit about New England I want to talk about in a second. Quick reminder about Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. I want to let you hear from Elliot Wolf, the Patriots GM, in just a quick second. But let me just take a quick second to remind you, if you need to buy tires, you go to Shaw Bills. You want the best tires on the road, you get the best tires where you get them the cheapest. That's Shaw Bills. Cheaper than the membership clubs, the box stores, other tire stores, and they guarantee it. It's part of the Charlie's Dozen. You buy tires at Shaw Bills. Within 30 days, you find them advertised cheaper. They'll refund you 125% of the difference. And when you buy tires at Shaw Bills, free tire rotations, free balancing, free tire repairs. It's part of the dozen benefits extended to you and your family when you buy your tires at Shaw Bills. They treat you like family at Shaw Bills because Shaw Bills is family-owned and operated and has been since 1968. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. So Elliot Wolf is the general manager of the New England Patriots. And Wolf did his pre-draft press conference, and he was asked about the possibility of the New England Patriots trading out of that first pick. Here's just very quickly, this is a 28-second answer, but I think it's pretty fascinating because it could very much involve Jaden Daniels. Give a listen.
Yeah, so ongoing. We're open to anything, moving up, moving down. We're open for business in the first round and in every round. We have some holes we feel like we need to fill in the draft, and we're a draft and develop team. The more picks we have, the better. But if there's an opportunity to move up and strike, if the board kind of recommends it, then we won't be afraid to pull the trigger on that either. Yes.
So he says we're a draft and develop team, but if the opportunity presents, they'll move up and strike. Now, clearly at number 3, they're not looking to move up, right? Caleb Williams is going to go number 1 overall, unless if they have their heart set on a quarterback and they want to make sure they get their guy. I mean, we did see last year the Texans do something similar, where they ended up with 2 picks there in the top 5, and they got their quarterback in C.J. Stroud, and they got Will Anderson, and they got him in the order that they wanted in a way that they would be able to pay for it. But what I find so interesting about what New England might do in saying that they're not committed to a quarterback, I wonder if that's gamesmanship from Elliott Wolf or if he's being serious. The other part of it, too, is they may not see a dramatic difference in the quarterbacks at the top. So if they have an opportunity to move back and potentially take J.J. McCarthy later, or if they like Michael Penix in round 2, they might be able to position themselves to get a quarterback that they really like, Bo Nix, that they covet, if they don't see a giant difference after, say, the first 2 guys. So that could also play with how the Saints, or what options are there for the Saints at 14. Got much more to talk about. We'll get to it after SportsCenter.
AFR.
As we put a button here on hour number 1, we'll remind you about Evermore. As a matter of fact, y'all, today, true story, I went to Rouse's. I had to load up. I was out of Evermore in my office. Now, this one, if you're watching us, I keep this one on set. It's the prop, but there's Evermore that I've worked into my routine that I drink every single day. And I think everyone that's health conscious has been aware of, of alkaline sources, right? And the alkalinity in water, trying to make your body more alkaline. Well, the pH in Evermore is 8.8 to 9.1. It's fresh. It's got a smooth taste. It's been perfected by nature. This is a healthier option when it comes to drinking water. It's healthier than what you're going to get out of the tap. And quite honestly, I challenge you to go read the labels. Look at how many water bottles that you're so used to just reaching and grabbing the flimsy plastic water bottle. How many have things added or taken away? This is an all-natural artesian water source right here in Louisiana. It's Evermore. EVAMOR. Evermore.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports after hurting his right knee against the Sixers last night, Miami Heat guard Jimmy Butler is expected to be out for several weeks. The Sixers won that game to lock up the 7th seed, but our Tim Legler isn't sure Philadelphia can make a playoff run.
The way Maxi's played all year and some of the new pieces they've added, man, this is the biggest challenger to the Boston Celtics. And a healthy Embiid, I still believe that. He's not healthy. He's not right. It's obvious to me last night. And I think that gives the Knicks great hope that now they have a diminished Sixers team that's going to give them a good shot with home court advantage.
Tim Legler on Unsportsmanlike. Browns GM Andrew Berry says he expects quarterback Deshaun Watson to be ready for the season opener in September. Watson had season-ending right shoulder surgery in November. Twin sisters Haley and Hannah Cavender will stay at Miami for their 5th and final year of eligibility. Earlier, Hannah thought about leaving the game, and Haley was transferring to TCU. This year, the Cavenders helped Miami to its first appearance in the Elite Eight.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Kennedy. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you which NBA playoff series I'm most excited about. And here's a hint. It's not Lakers-Nuggets. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you aboard with us here. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tompley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU running back commit JT Lindsay, bottom of this hour. Chris Trapasso, CBS NFL draft analyst, coming up about an hour and 15 minutes from right now. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Early Thursday, Tom Pelissero of NFL Media tweeted that former LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels is scheduled to have dinner tonight with Vikings brass in Baton Rouge. He notes that Minnesota owns the number 11 and 23 picks, and they've been gathering all of the info in case there's an opportunity to move up for one of the top quarterbacks. That is noteworthy for a couple of reasons, mostly because Wednesday was actually the last opportunity for NFL teams to host prospects. So, we talked about top 30 visits, how teams could bring 30 prospects to their facilities and pay for everything. You could fly them in, work them out, host them, dine, whatever, all that stuff. Well, that ended Wednesday, but there's no rule that says a team can't go visit a prospect at their hometown, their college campus, and go out with them. So the fact that Minnesota is flying their brass down to Baton Rouge to take Jaden Daniels out to dinner tonight tells you they are serious in case the opportunity presents for them to draft Jaden Daniels. And especially considering what we just heard. Can you play Elliot Wolf again, please? This was the Patriots general manager with his pre-draft press conference talking about the possibility of the Patriots moving out of the number 3 pick?
Yeah, so ongoing. We're open to anything, moving up, moving down. We're open for business in the first round and in every round.
Okay, that's it. That's all I need. We're open for business, moving up, moving down. So, point being, let's say Jaden wows Minnesota. And if Caleb goes 1 and Drake May goes 2, what if Minnesota says, we're going to go up to 3 to take Jaden? We're not going to let New England take Jaden and then wait to see if we can take J.J. McCarthy at 5, right? I mean, that's something that is inherently possible if the GM of the Patriots saying we're open for business. Anyway, so I thought about this today because we've largely had the conversation centered around the Bears taking Caleb Williams 1, and then what's going to happen to Jaden? Does he go 2 to Washington or 3 to New England, or what else might be a possibility out there? So I looked at those 4 spots because it's hard to imagine Jaden Daniels ending up anywhere else, either 1 to Chicago, 2 or 3 to Washington, New England, or Minnesota trading up. I guess weird things can happen in the draft. Maybe the Giants move up and take him. It could happen. But realistically, when you look at the draft odds and destinations for Jaden Daniels, it looks like it'll probably be most likely one of those 4 spots. So I said, let's look at each of those 4 and sort of weigh the pros and the cons, find out what would be the best landing spot. So hit me with a little music bed if you would, Muse. And we'll start it off at the top.
The Chicago Bears.
So I look at the Bears' history, especially of drafting quarterbacks. They drafted Mitchell Trubisky and flopped. They drafted Justin Fields and flopped. Matt Eberflus is on the hot seat. So if a quarterback goes number 1 overall and plays this year, which whoever they draft is going to play, you're very likely going to have a bad season and a new head coach next year. The Bears last year were 18th in the NFL in scoring offense. Yes, they have DJ Moore, and yes, they went in the offseason and added another free agent wide receiver. So they're trying to stack the deck a bit, I guess, for whoever the quarterback is that's going to come in. But realistically, if all you're looking at is DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, who's the receiver that they brought in, I don't know that that's a great spot year 1 for a rookie quarterback, meaning year 2, you're probably looking at a reset with a new head coach.
The Washington Commanders.
So Washington, as we know, has the 2nd overall pick. And their history with drafting quarterbacks has been very hit or miss. Just for instance, the last time they took a quarterback number 1 was Dwayne Haskins back in 2019. Before that, and that was 15th overall. Before that, it was RG3 in 2012, 2nd overall. Prior to that, you got to go all the way back to Jason Campbell in 2005, Patrick Ramsey in 2002, and that was 32nd overall. And before that, Heath Schuler back in 1994. So that's 5 first-round quarterbacks since 94. Haskins, RG3, Jason Campbell, Patrick Ramsey, Heath Schuler. They haven't shown a great commitment to quarterback in the first round. What's more, I think the coach situation in Washington is better than Chicago. You hire Dan Quinn, who's been a successful head coach and certainly has been a great defensive coordinator. You've got a guy that is going to, because he's a first-year head coach, you're going to have a degree of stability. And if you missed it, Washington hired Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator. And I know you can roll your eyes about Kingsbury, but his offenses weren't the problem. And when he was the head coach in Arizona, they went from 5-10-1 to 8-8 to 11-6, and then 4-13, and he got fired. But a lot of that centered around the fact that Kyler Murray got hurt, tore his ACL. But Cliff Kingsbury, as an offensive mind in the NFL, had success. Now, Washington last year was 25th in the NFL in scoring, and they don't have a lot of weapons. Curtis Samuel's off to Buffalo. You do return Terry McLaurin. You got Jahan Dotson there, and they're likely going to be in the mix to draft more offensive weapons. But Washington, in my view, is a better destination, if nothing else, because of the head coach, offensive coordinator situation, than Chicago.
The New England Patriots.
Got another first-year head coach in Gerard Mayo. Remember, Mac Jones is gone. He's in Jacksonville now. Alex Van Pelt is the OC in New England. And in the last 4 years, Van Pelt has been the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach there in Cleveland. However, Stefanski was the play caller, so even though Van Pelt's been the OC and quarterbacks coach in Cleveland in the last 4 years, he wasn't calling plays. But again, entering his 29th NFL season, he's been an offensive coordinator in plenty of different places. So you have a veteran, experienced coordinator and play caller in New England to pair with a first-year head coach who is defensive-minded, who is very likely just going to leave the offensive coordinator alone and let him be the OC and the head coach of the offense. The tricky part about New England is they averaged 13.8 points per game last year. Dead last in the NFL. And you've got no weapons. I mean, they relied heavily on Ezekiel Elliott a year ago in New England. So with no weapons, a new head coach, new OC, New England is not a spot where you could imagine to have any degree of success initially. That would be a brutal scenario for any rookie quarterback walking into in 2024.
The Minnesota Vikings.
And we throw the Vikings in there because the Vikings are in town. They're taking Jaden Daniels out to dinner tonight, and everyone is mocking the Vikings to trade up for a quarterback. However, most have the Vikings trading up, potentially to 4 with Arizona, to take J.J. McCarthy. But what if they go up to 3 or 2 because they covet Jaden Daniels? To me, this is by a mile, by a country mile, the best situation for a rookie quarterback. You got Kevin O'Connell as your head coach, who is a successful offensive mind off of the McVay-Shanahan tree, right? The Vikings were 7-10 this past year, mostly because of the Kirk Cousins injury. They played Josh Dobbs off the street at quarterback. A year before, the Vikings were 13-4. They come back, Cousins gets injured, and they go 7-10 and miss the playoffs. But you've got Justin Jefferson, you've got Jordan Addison, you've got TJ Hawkinson, you've got Madison. You have a ton of offensive weapons, a successful head coach, a roster that is built to and ready to win. All you're missing is a competent quarterback. And if Jaden Daniels stepped in immediately, he wouldn't have to be Superman like he would have to be at other places. I understand everybody wants to go 1 overall. And with every spot, when you looked at draft slot value that you bump down in the draft, you lose money. But if you're Jaden Daniels and there's the possibility of Minnesota moving up to take you at 2 or 3 or 4, that would be a dream scenario. There might be more money at number 1 or number 2, but a giant payday in the top 5 and the opportunity to go to a franchise with weapons that's ready to win is a dramatically better scenario. If I'm an LSU fan, if I'm Jaden Daniels, I'm on bended knee hoping it's Minnesota that takes the LSU quarterback next Thursday. All right. I'm glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels, they're just the best, where you always have the Lee Michaels experience. Remember, we talk about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. I mean, when you walk in, you know, it's like going to a great restaurant, right? When you walk in, you just know when there's people there and it's full. Like, you walk into a restaurant, it's empty, you wonder why. You walk into a jewelry store like Lee Michaels and it's bustling and there's people there and they greet you with chocolates on a tray and something cold to drink. That's the Lee Michaels experience. Thrill her with a gift in the red box. Gentlemen, from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You can shop them online at lmfj.com, but highly recommend you just walk in. Remember, if they don't have what you're looking for, they can make it. And if not, they can get it from another store. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, glad you're bored with us here. They're in the second rotation there. LSU is leading after the first rotation, which was vault. Tigers are on bars right now. We'll keep you posted. It looks like Alexis Jeffrey went first, followed by Ashley Cohen. So we'll keep, let's see, Kaya, Connor, Savannah, and Haley Bryant will wrap up, round out bars for LSU. We'll let you know how the scoring goes. Again, if you're just joining us, this is the national semifinal. There's 2 different groups. So this quartet, this 4 teams are Cal, LSU, Stanford, and Arkansas. The top 2 advance to the championship on Saturday. Then 4 more teams tonight. The top 2 there advance to the championships on Saturday. So I've said it before. I know LSU has had success, and they've gone what used to be the Super 6, now the 4 on the floor. And you know they've had a national runner-up finish. But realistically, this team has the best realistic shot of winning the national championship. Like, this team is capable. It's like it's within reason to think they can score what you need to score in that meet to win the national championship. Now, can you have your best meet of the year when it matters most? We'll see. But it wouldn't be like a massive stretch, like this impossible, everyone has their best meet ever for them to do it. Like, LSU has scored a program high this year that would have been a high enough score to win the national championship a year ago. So this team can do it. They just got to go execute today and then hopefully get to Saturday and execute then. We'll keep you posted. All right. It's after further review. Could the Saints actually trade Trevor Penning? It was posed today in an interesting trade scenario. I want to talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. You know by now, two amazing hotel properties, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. And they always got great events going on. I'll tell you, you can always host your event at the Watermark or the Renaissance. A wedding reception, a fundraiser, an awards banquet, a corporate meeting, team building, great meeting space downtown at the Watermark, Southtown at the Renaissance. Of course, their guest rooms are amazing as well. Hey, remember, this Friday, though, is the next evenings at the Renaissance, and it's free. Tickets are free, and it's an evening with Sugarfield Spirits. Forgive me. It's with Noel. It's Noel Family Distillery. Forgive me, Sugarfield was last week. Got to meet Natalie Noel not long ago. She and her dad, it's a father-daughter-owned distillery, and they do an amazing job. This Friday, 6 to 8:30. Again, free tickets. It's evenings at the Renaissance with great cocktails from Noel Distillery at the Renaissance.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Live After 5 is back this spring. Clock out and rock out with us Fridays from April 12th through May 24th in downtown Baton Rouge for the free concert series, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join us for another season filled with incredible music, delicious food, talented artists, and a lively second line parade. This Friday, come out to see Kenny Neal for Live After 5, and it's now the Dreams Come True Power Hour as well, Matt. Donation.
Power Hour. Let's go.
1045ESPN.com from now until 5 p.m. Donation of at least $5, ending in 45 cents. And that enters you into a drawing to win 2 VIP passes to Sunday at the Zurich Classic, April 28th.
How about this, too? I will match whatever we raise this hour. So whatever we raise this hour, I will personally match it. So anybody that goes to 1045ESPN.com, donates the Dreams Come True Radiothon, again, with 45 cents in the end. So whatever, $5, 45 cents, $10, 45 cents, $100, 45 cents, whatever we raise this hour, I'll match it. Please make sure in your donation that you end the donation with 45 cents, because as Muse said, that's how you're entered into the drawing. With Zurich?
2 VIP passes to the Sunday round at the Zurich. That's April 28th.
What are the VIP passes? Do you know?
I do not know what they
I don't know
entail.
if it's like walk-ons, tent, or whatever it may be, but usually, or maybe it's the VIP by the 18th hole. No matter what, if you've never been to Zurich at one of the VIP areas, it's awesome. I mean, it's the Zurich Classic is more party than golf. Like if you want to just go walk the course and follow the pros and experience a PGA event, that's an awesome thing to do. If you want to go hang out at a tent and have good booze and great food and listen to music and watch golfers and have a good time with some rowdy people, like, you can do that as well. So Zurich's a great event. We'll be there next Friday, and we'll look forward to it. So anyway, please be generous if you can. Go to 1045ESPN.com and donate to Dreams Come True Louisiana. As we always mention, awesome organization that makes dreams come true for kids with terminal or life-threatening illnesses. So Miss Becky Prejean is so awesome. We've been partnered with them for years. Love them, and anything we can do to help, we're always on board. All right. It's after further review. Let me start by saying I do not believe this is going to happen. All right? I just want to throw it out there. I'm not putting this out there suggesting that there's a good possibility of it happening. But when the draft comes around every year, there are always circumstances that arise that nobody anticipates. So it's worth talking about just to have it out there because of what possibilities do exist. Again, possibilities. Bill Barnwell every year goes to ESPN.com and presents a trade in the first round for every team. And for the New Orleans Saints, he proposes a trade that has the Saints going up to number 5 in the draft, where the Chargers are slotted, to take whoever they feel is the best offensive tackle in the draft, most likely Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. 6'9", 320-pound Adonis, right? Well, the proposed trade from Barnwell is the Saints sending the 14th overall pick, the 45th pick, and Trevor Penning to the Chargers for the 5th pick. So this year's 1, 2, and Trevor Penning to move up to number 5 overall. Now, I want to be very clear. If the Saints can give up the 14th pick, the 45th pick, and a bust to go up to number 5 to get who they feel might be their franchise left tackle for a dozen years, do it in a heartbeat. Like, run the card up to the podium, all right? I want to remind, like, when we talk about trades, we have to look at it in terms of, do you remember what you gave up for a successful trade? Here's the example I like to use. Julio Jones. The Atlanta Falcons were thought to be lunatics when they traded up to get Julio Jones. Do you remember this? The Atlanta Falcons sent 5 picks to Cleveland to go up to number 6 to take Julio. They sent 2 1s, a 2, a 4, and a 5. So that year's first-round pick, the next year's first-round pick, a second-round pick, a 4, and a 5. They sent 5 picks, 2 1s and a 2 included, to move up to 6 to take Julio Jones. Do you think anyone in Atlanta, anyone associated with that organization, regrets that deal? Julio Jones became the greatest receiver in the history of that organization. He was there when the Atlanta Falcons saw Matt Ryan win an MVP. They were up 28-3 in the Super Bowl. I mean, they were on the cusp. No one in Atlanta regrets that trade because they hit. My guess is there's people in Chicago that probably aren't super pumped that the Bears moved up to 2 to take Mitchell Trubisky. Right? It's all about how does it work. So, if the Saints make a deal to go up to 5 and you take Joe Alt, and ultimately what you did is you drafted Willie Roaf, a guy that's going to go to the Hall of Fame and be your franchise tackle and the best tackle your organization's ever seen, no one's going to give a rip what you traded. So there's always that part of it. So from the Saints' perspective, if you even consider moving up in round 1, that's what it is. It's like, are you that bullish? Are you that convicted on a player that you're saying, we're going to get him because we know that is as close to a can't-miss prospect as you'll ever find? And if that's the case, then okay. Now, the other part of that is, why would anybody want Trevor Penning? Now, we could certainly look at it from the component of Trevor Penning's contract, okay? He just finished his second year in the league. He's on a rookie deal. So if you did trade Trevor Penning, you'd be sending him to a new team with a fifth-year option, of course, but he's got 2024, 2025, and then a fifth-year option after that. And again, remember, rookie deals are capped, so Trevor Penning, his cap hit this year is 3.8, next year is 4.5, and then you have the fifth-year option in 2026. Yes, there would be some dead money for New Orleans, but who cares, because the Saints don't seem to care about that at all. I think it's more like, would that be any incentive for a team to take Trevor Penning? It's not like in the NBA where sometimes you have like a salary dump that you have when you trade a player. It's like, all right, we're going to do this deal, but you're going to take this player to take his salary off our books because you have the space. That's not exactly how it's going to work in the NFL. My thought is only with respect to this proposed trade that Bill Barnwell put out there. The question, like the biggest question is how big of a difference is there? If the Saints are going left tackle or offensive tackle, and we all believe they are, how big of a difference is there at tackle between whoever is the first tackle in the draft, if it's Joe Alt, and whoever would be there at 14? Like, if you go Joe Alt and then Fuaga and Fashanu and Fugisi, the three Fs as they call them, like, how much of a gap is there? No doubt that you'd have them ranked, but how big of a difference is there among those 3 or 4? So that's really the question that you have to ask yourself. If you're New Orleans, could you stay at 14, take a guy that whoever of those 4 is available you at 14, you're pumped, and you keep the 45th pick, and so now you get 2 players? Or do you move up to get the guy you think is the best at your biggest position of need? The thing that I'll tell you why I'm inclined to say stay where you are is NFL.com, after this free agent cycle, ranked the NFL rosters. They've got the Saints 25th. You have the 25th best roster in the NFL. It's subjective, but you have the 25th best roster in the NFL. We all understand this isn't one of the best rosters in the league. So if you're that low, you have needs. So I would rather 2 potential starters in the top 50 as opposed to 1. So yes, I could be on board with moving up to get a player you're convicted on. But I'm more interested in filling as many holes as possible with talented young players on rookie deals. So my vote is stay at 14, draft a tackle, draft the best available receiver at 45, and hope you get 2 starters out of it. And pray that Trevor Penning becomes a serviceable starter in the NFL. All right, it's after further review. Everybody's excited about this one, man. LSU over the weekend landed a commitment from 4-star running back out of Alexandria Senior High, a.k.a. Ash, JT Lindsay. JT Lindsay joins us next on AFR.
AFR.
Action Industries, official partner of LSU Athletics. Matter of fact, when you're out at the box or watching LSU baseball all season long, every mound visit is brought to you by our friends over at Action Industries. Of course, if you do work in any of the plants, of course, the petrochemical refinery markets, Action Industry has serviced those markets for 42 years, since 1982. ActionIndinc.com. I've been able to tell you so much about their exemplary safety record, about the phenomenal work they do. We've read so many testimonials from some of the biggest companies in the world that have contracted with Action Industries to do work for them. But they also do things like exchanger tube cleaning. They use vapor abrasive blasting technology, which cleans their tubes at pressures less than 100 psi. So, don't send them to Texas to be dipped in a vat. Do something that's safer, that's more efficient, and that's going to be more effective. It's Action Industries. Check them out online or on LinkedIn. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, LSU's 2025 recruiting class just continues to build. They got another recruit to pop over the weekend with the spring game. 4-star running back out of Ash, JT Lindsay, who's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. JT, we appreciate the time, man. How are you?
Great. How about you?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Take me to Saturday, spring game out at LSU, and you decided to make it official and commit to the Tigers. Why did you choose to make your decision and make your announcement over the weekend?
Because I know this is a place I want to play football. I know this is where I want to build my family, have a culture and everything. I love the environment LSU have. Ain't no place better.
You know, I'm so interested in this class in particular because you got 3 running backs from Louisiana that are all studs. I mean, there's Harlan Berry, there's James Simon. By the way, do you all know each other? You and Harlem and James, do you all talk? Do you know each other well?
No, sir. My first time seeing Harlem was this past weekend.
So does the I use this term kind of loosely, but like the threat of competition, like would that worry you or give you pause, think about going somewhere else where you wouldn't necessarily be a part of a class that might have 3 running backs in it?
No, sir. It's all competition. We all friendly toward each other. Just want to make each other better. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. What did Coach Frank tell you throughout the recruiting process? What was his focus?
He just told me to put my head down and keep working. Because, they offered me pretty late in the recruiting process. He told me, just wait, just keep on working, keep doing you, you're going to get it.
When did they officially offer?
It was this past Tuesday.
Okay, so they offered on Tuesday, and then Saturday you're there for the spring game and you committed.
Yes, sir.
So it's a pretty easy decision then, man. How much of it was just the opportunity to stay home?
Yeah, I love seeing my mom. I love my family being at the games. They really give me like an extra boost. And I know if I go somewhere far, it might be harder for her to take off work every weekend to come see me, so I'd rather stay home.
Did your mom or any of your family have any influence on your decision? Like, did they kind of nudge you toward LSU?
They didn't nudge me. They was with me 100%. Wherever I wanted to go, they're gonna be there with me.
Man, I know you play at Ash, and of course Alexandra, DJ Sharks from Ash, and of course Jacoby and Guillory right now on the team. Played at Ash. Did you talk to those guys at all about their LSU experience?
I talked to Jacoby and my god sister Alexis Guillory. She do track at LSU. They told me everything that I needed to know.
What did they tell you?
They told me how they treat them. I asked them a question, how they treat them, how is it during tests, do they treat athletes differently than everybody else? Is it more pressure? They told me all the right answers to finalize my commitment.
JT Lindsay's our guest, LSU commitment. He's on Twitter at JT Lindsay4. You want to give him a follow there or on Instagram as well. Let's talk a little bit about your game, man. First of all, I know they got you listed 5'11", 185. Is that about right? Where are you right now physically?
5'10", 185.
5'10", 185. Are you planning to, do you want to get bigger, or is that a good size for you there in that 185 range?
I'll get a little bit bigger. I like using my speed and my vision. I don't want to lose none of that. It's getting bigger.
Yeah. How would you describe your game? What are your best attributes as a running back?
My vision, my patience. I like to be patient behind the blocks and everything. I know how to turn on and turn off my speed. Just knowing the defensive front and the linebackers, like what my O-line supposed to do and what the D-line going to react to it.
What would you say is the thing in your senior year you want to work on the most?
Building a relationship with my whole team, not just the offense.
What do you think about, on the field, what would you say is like the thing, if you had to work on your game, what do you think is the thing you'd want to work on the most?
Really understanding all the defensive plays and all the schemes that they run and the offense.
Hey, JT, do you think is your plan to enroll early, or do you think you'll play out your entire senior year and then be a summer enrollee next year?
I'm gonna enroll in the summer.
Cool. You think just the extra time there and in school will help you out?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Have you gotten a chance to get to know, talk to Brian Kelly at all?
Yes, I met him Saturday right before I committed.
Wow, so was that the first time you got to meet him?
Yes, sir.
So what was that like?
It was nice seeing him in person right there in the room. He got all energetic, pumped up.
Yeah. What did he say whenever you committed?
Man, he had the biggest smile on his face. He said, "Man, I've been waiting."
Was it just him, or was anybody else in the room?
It was just him and my family.
Oh, that's really cool, man. So give me a lowdown, man. What's the rest of the semester like for you? Y'all going through spring right now, or y'all finished?
We're not going through spring yet. We're still in track season. We start spring after state track meet.
Wow. What events you going to run in track?
I do the 100, 200, 4x1, 4x2, and 4x4.
Like, you going to win? You going to win state?
For the 4x4, 4x1, 4x2. I think we did.
I love it, dude. My guy already knows where his honey hole is. It's so good. All right, man. Hey, look, congrats on your commitment. I know there's a lot of people excited every time they get a Louisiana kid to stay home, man. So congrats on your commitment. We'll look forward to talking again somewhere down the line. Thanks for the time, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, be well. That is JT Lindsay, 4-star running back out of Alexandria Senior High, pledges to the Tigers, another member of that 2025 class, which keeps on growing, man. They are impressive. I'm going to be very interested to see if James Simon jumps aboard as well. James Simon's from North Louisiana. They're at Calvary Baptist. So you've already got Harlan Berry. Now you've got JT Lindsay on board as well. Does James Simon want to be a third running back in this class? Again, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. Y'all know I'm not, like, we have Shea on every week, and he's awesome, and the recruiting guys that do that, like, I don't know who's thinking what or whatever. It just stands to reason you could say, do you want to be part of a three-man class at running back? Maybe. And Frank Wilson, I could look back at those 2010, 11, 12 seasons where you had so many talented backs when you had, I think about when you had Stephen Ridley finishing up and you had Michael Ford and Jeremy Hill and Kenny Hilliard, Alfred Blue, Terrence McGee. I mean, so many talented running backs, all Louisiana kids too, by the way. Cycling through that running back room, and Frank got them all touches. And one of the things he so often said is, the depth chart is written in sand. I remember when Frank was here from his first stint, hearing him say that over and over again. And his running backs would say that. Depth chart's written in sand, meaning whoever's hot that day, whoever's hot that week, like, it's your opportunity. So depth matters, for Frank Wilson in that room. How many guys will they take? We'll see. So I'm sure they take them all. It's just, do they all want to be part of a class where you take three at the same position? So we'll see, though. But congrats to JT Lindsay on making his decision. Got the offer Tuesday, came in for the spring game on Saturday, committed. You can tell some of these dudes, they just know. You get the offer to play for the home state school. It's the thing we always talk about, man. The advantage is the dirt. You get an opportunity to play at LSU. A lot of guys are going to jump on that opportunity, and JT Lindsay did. All right, we're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. More than 30 offices across 11 different states. Was down at Michelli not too long ago as they had the ribbon cutting on the newly expanded facility there in Harahan. It's so cool to me to think, man, this business has been around for 76 years. 76 years. And their home base is still there in Harahan while they've expanded across 11 states, 30 offices, and they still maintain their local home base, locally owned and operated, face-to-face relationships. So you weigh or measure something, I always encourage you to go to the website because the website is an amazing resource. You want to see the industries that they deal with? Just go to the website, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. You can request a quote. I mean, if you're talking about things from aerospace and agriculture, aggregates, the chemical, petrochemical industry, energy, waste, recycling, transportation. I mean, near dozens of industries. You weigh or measure something, they sell, service, and rent the products you use to weigh and measure. ISO 17025 accreditation. They got the track system, which allows you 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates. It's so easy to start at the website. Find the location nearest you at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. All right, y'all. Let's see. LSU currently looking at the gymnast on beam. So LSU still leading through two rotations. So the Tigers have knocked out vault and bars. They're on beam right now, which for many years was the bugaboo, but this team has been awesome on beam. Haley Bryan, Aaliyah Finnegan will be the anchors on beam for the Tigers. Looks like Sierra Ballard led off as she typically. Is that a 9-9 or does she go 9-8? Can you see it? Looking at a TV far. Okay, that's great. So Sierra Ballard went 9-9 to lead off. So Tigers trying to advance. Again, if you're just joining, this is the semifinals for gymnastics. LSU, Arkansas, Cal, Stanford. The top two teams advance to Saturday's finals. And then tonight you'll have four more teams with the top two advancing. And then you'll have the four on the floor Saturday for the national championship. So we'll keep you posted as they move throughout this meet. But LSU through two rotations currently in the lead, looking good. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We come back. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. Big hour 3. Chris Trapasso here in 30 minutes, CBS Sports NFL draft analyst. I want to talk to him about prospects he likes that would be on the board for the Saints when they pick. At 14, at 45, if they do move up for a defensive tackle in round 3, who might be there. We'll run through all those scenarios. And by the way, if you have questions, if you have draft questions, get them in. Email me, tweet me, text me. We'll get your draft questions in for Chris Trapasso 30 minutes from right now. So get them in now. Start to line them up. Glad you're aboard with us here. Don't move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
We touched on it earlier in the hour, but in case you're just hopping in your car, Jaden Daniels will visit with the Minnesota Vikings. That visit will be in Baton Rouge and include dinner. Tom Pelissero, the first on the report there. Vikings doing their due diligence, and Daniels has met with just about everybody when it comes to the top half of the draft, whether it be the Bears, Commanders, Patriots. It's been a long list. He's been very busy, as you might expect. The Vikings, the latest in line there. Major League Baseball getaway day over in Detroit. The Texas Rangers were on the road. Josh Smith continuing the hot start, 1 for 3, scored twice in the ball game as well. Drew a walk was the other time he reached base, hitting .320 early on. Alex Lang.
Is that good?
That's pretty good. Doesn't stink, especially when people thought he wasn't going to make the opening day roster. Yeah. I'll show so much they know.
Idiots.
Josh Smith's former LSU teammate, Alex Lang, was on the bump in relief for Detroit today. Just 2/3 of an inning, but couldn't really been much more effective. 2 strikeouts, 9 pitches, 7 of those strikes. So I guess the only way it could have been more effective was 2 more strikes, and that's it. So awesome day there for Lang, off to another great start.
The Langer.
In his season as well. To the PGA Tour we go. RBC Heritage this week over in at Harbortown. Sam Burns, 1 under par through his first round. That's a 70. That's what I thought over there at Harbortown. 3 bogeys, 4 birdies for Burns. He's tied for 38. And on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Oh.
Yeah, round 1 in progress there. The Suncoast Classic, Matt. Curtis Thompson's in the field. Tough day for our guy there.
Oh. So you don't mention Curtis for a month, then you think you're throwing him a bone, and you just happen to mention when he has a tough day.
That's not true.
You just keep exposing yourself, Muse. That's all this is. We know you don't like the guy. Just admit it.
I do like Curtis Thompson.
No.
I wish him nothing but success. You don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here to report the facts. It was a rough day. He's got plenty of time.
Except when the messenger only shows up when it's bad rounds.
It's not true. Like a month ago, we had an under par round for Curtis here in the segment.
Oh, yeah, a month ago. Right. So a month.
He doesn't play every week.
Once a month, we get a Curtis Thompson.
The Corn Ferry Tour schedule is not as rigid as the PGA Tour. Curtis has some work to do, but he's got another round. 8 over. Here we go. Time to go low tomorrow. That's Tigers in the Pros.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. Fired up. The restaurant scene in Baton Rouge 2 years ago changed forever when Supper Club opened, and I am the lucky one who gets to tell you every single day. And everything they do at Supper Club is intentional. The flooring is playful, the curved walls, the standard wood table, the French fries. When you go sit down at Supper Club, look, they are, the way that they describe it at Supper Club is they're sophisticated but playful, styled but welcoming. So don't be intimidated when you walk in. Go understanding you're going to have the best night of your life. It's such an incredible experience because when you walk into Supper Club, you're talking about the type of place that normally you'd only find in New York or Abu Dhabi or Vegas or San Francisco, and it's right here in Baton Rouge. And you may roll your eyes and say, yeah, right, why? Well, that's because Brandon and Mackenzie Landry, who obviously they've had immense success with walk-ons, got to travel the world. They wanted to do something for Baton Rouge because they love Baton Rouge. So Supper Club is an experience. When you go into Supper Club, you realize they have Sashiri A5 Wagyu. Supper Club, you may not know this, Supper Club is one of eight restaurants in the world. Listen to me. One of 8 restaurants in the world that has Sashiri A5 Wagyu. They had to join, I'm not going to tell you how much they had to pay to join, but they had to join an agricultural cooperative in Japan just to be able to apply to be able to carry this specific Wagyu. Last year, there were only 85 cows in the world that got this grade. And Supper Club gets that meat, that beef. You want the best experience of your life? You go to Supper Club. And yes, Supper Club is the big event celebration destination place that we all know over the last 2 years. But you can always just walk into Supper Club after work, go have a cocktail. They just opened up seating at the bar without a reservation. So knock off of work today. You want to go have a cocktail at the bar, close some business, you could do it. If you left your jacket at home, no worries. All you need is a collared shirt. You can check the dress code there on the website. at supperclubbr.com. So supperclubbtr is the website. They just like 2 days ago launched the new website, supperclubbtr.com. Supper Club. Y'all get on by and have the night of your life at Supper Club. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Coming up on hour number 3, Chris Trapasso, our guy from CBS Sports, NFL Draft Analyst, he's going to be with us in about 20 minutes from right now. So if you got draft questions, you can get them in. Brian Kelly, I don't know how we missed this at the end of last week, but Brian Kelly was a guest on it wasn't the Dan Le Batard show. The show was God Bless Football on the Le Batard Network with Stu Gatz and Mike Golick. And anyway, they talked about it a lot, but one thing that was, I think, very relevant now is how Brian Kelly is building the roster with NIL and transfer portal. So come back after SportsCenter here. I want to let you hear some of what Brian Kelly had to say. He talked about Jaden Daniels and talked about developing quarterbacks in the portal era and all that stuff. But some of the comments he made about NIL and the portal and building his roster, I thought were really pointed. So we're going to get to that. We'll also head to Tuscaloosa, talk to Mark Heim. We'll get our SEC spring recap, taking a look at Kalen DeBoer's Alabama Crimson Tide, his first spring there in Tuscaloosa. So we've got a ton to do here as we move toward hour 3. The LSU gymnastics squad in the national semis right now. They're wrapping up beam, and they are crushing it right now. So Tigers are going to be one rotation away from advancing to Saturday's national championship finals. So we're not going to break. SportsCenter's coming up. Muse, Paulie, and I are here right after SportsCenter for hour 3.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com for First South Farm Credit. Your first call, if you're looking to buy land, your first thought, your first web visit should be First South Farm Credit. First South Farm Credit. Since 1916. Y'all, since 1916, they've done one thing at First South Farm Credit. One thing. Help Louisianians buy land. You want to buy a hunting property? First South Farm Credit. You want to buy 20 acres in St. Francisville or Zachary or wherever to build your family's dream home? First South Farm Credit can help make it happen. Look, there's a lot of lenders. But if you want someone with the knowledge, the expertise of buying land for Louisianians, who know the processes, all the ways, you want First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthLand.com. Again, check them out online at FirstSouthLand.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports Heat guard Jimmy Butler will be out several weeks with a right knee injury from last night's loss to the 76ers. The Heat host the Bulls tomorrow night to settle the 8th seed in the East. Butler will be out. The Patriots hold the 3rd overall pick in next Thursday's NFL Draft. New England's director of scouting is Elliott Wolf.
We're open to anything, moving up, moving down. We're open for business in the first round and in every round. We have some holes we feel like we need to fill in the draft, and we're a draft and develop team. The more picks we have, the better.
Elliott Wolf, who says they'd also be comfortable staying put and taking a quarterback with that 3rd overall pick. 5 NFL players are reinstated after serving 1-year suspensions for violating the league's gambling policy, including free agents Rashad Berry, Quintez Cephas, C.J. Moore, and Demetrius Taylor. Under a new state law signed today, schools in Virginia will be able to directly pay college athletes for NIL deals.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Chris Trapasso, CBS Sports Draft Analyst, with us here in about 15 minutes. If you want to get draft questions in for Chris, do it. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Brian Kelly was a guest on God Bless Football, which is part of the Le Batard Network. He was on with Mike Golick and Stu Gotts. And this was late last week. Forgive me, not sure how we missed it late last week, but about a 20-minute sit-down convo. You can go watch the full conversation on YouTube if you want to with the guys. But they covered a lot of ground, and I thought maybe the most interesting stuff that Brian Kelly talked about were some pointed conversations about how he's managing his roster with in the light of NIL. This is number 4, Muse, if you would. Here was, again, Brian Kelly on God Bless Football talking about roster management in the NIL era.
Well, if we had a salary cap, I'd be okay with it. But there's no salary cap. I mean, that's the issue, really. I mean, if we all were operating under, the same guidelines, at least we could, know, okay, this is what we've got. But that's really the biggest issue. But look, the parallels, you're right. I mean, look, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, they're all looking for that rookie signing bonus. We're out there recruiting seniors in high school. They're looking for that freshman signing bonus. The transfer portal, he's looking for a free agent bonus. And then the guys on your roster, they want retention bonuses. So it parallels. NIL money is broken down into the three categories that the NFL is paying out. And we're doing the same thing. Unfortunately, we're doing without a salary cap. And that's where it makes it just absolutely crazy.
So I know there are a lot of people pushing for some type of regulation and, as you put it, a salary cap. It's never going to happen with NIL. That's important to note. And I've had this conversation enough with attorneys, NIL attorneys, that have said they already have the lawsuits drawn. If anybody tries to ever implement a salary cap, that you'll immediately face lawsuits. Think of it this way. Because these aren't salaried employees. You're talking about NIL deals. This is name, image, and likeness. By the letter of how it is written, these are endorsement deals. Imagine if the WNBA tried to cap the endorsement deals Caitlin Clark could do. Imagine if the NBA tried to cap how much Michael Jordan could make on endorsements. Imagine if the PGA said, we're going to cap what Tiger Woods can make in endorsements. It's ludicrous, but it's the same conversation. And I understand we could say, well, no, this is pay for play. Not by the letter of the law. If you ever get to a point where the student athletes are deemed to be employees and they unionize, then you can start to have that conversation. But you can't have that conversation right now. And quite honestly, it's no different in structure and in theory in creating the haves and the have-nots than what existed in college football forever, which is where the schools with the biggest budget won. You had the best coaches. You had the best support staff. You had the best facilities. I mean, this facilities arms race that built up where you had these football operation centers where Texas had like flat screen TVs in everybody's locker room. Oregon has like this waterfall in their facility. Alabama built a barber shop in their football facility. I mean, you don't think all of those things differentiate the haves and the have-nots? It's no different than what's happening right now. It's just displaced from using that money to build facilities and having travel budget. So whenever you travel, you're flying private and staying in nice hotels, or a recruiting budget. It's no different. It's just differentiating the haves and the have-nots and facilitating where the funds are going. Instead of going to build new facilities, it's going to the players. Okay. So we're still talking about the same teams that have been great, being great. It's just where the money's going is different and how you manage a roster is different. And I'll continue to say it. The only people that are inconvenienced by this are millionaire coaches. Fans may not like it. You may like being more settled knowing a guy signs at 18, he's with you for 3 years. That you may like that. It may be more settling for you, but I don't care. It's not about what makes you comfortable. If you don't like the process, fine. Just show up on Saturdays in the fall and cheer for your team, which is what I recommend people do anyway. But the salary cap, as Kelly said, like, that's not going to happen with respect to NIL. Now, what's interesting is today, Virginia, the state of Virginia, passed a law that will allow institutions to directly pay athletes for name, image, and likeness deals. Now, again, these are still NIL deals, but a school and athletic department can now pay their student athlete in the state of Virginia to market for the university, for the athletic department, so you don't have to use the collective as an intermediary for other businesses or whatever it may be. The school can directly do it. Now, the interesting thing about that is, what does this mean for Title IX? If the athletic department is spending money to buy endorsement deals with a male student athlete, do they have to spend the same for a female student athlete? That's where it's going to get a little foggy. But look, Louisiana is one of 6 states, including South Carolina, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Illinois, and Mississippi, that have pending legislation right now similar to allow schools to pay NIL deals. So all of this is evolving, and I understand we're evolving. But it was interesting to hear Brian Kelly talk about it in this respect with how he's building a roster. But the other thing Kelly said, can you play number 5, please, is in spite of how many people think that this is ruining college football. Brian Kelly sees it the other way.
College football is in a great place. We know there's a lot of money. The problem is nobody knows what this is going to look like in a couple of years. And if anybody does, please let me know. But we just have to figure out how to cap this so we can move forward.
It's, again, NIL is never going to be capped. If you get to a point where there's rev share, that's a different conversation. Where the revenue that athletic departments are generating is being shared with the student athletes. That's different. But you're never going to cap NIL, ever. You will never, ever, ever be able to limit, be able to tell someone you can't make X. Like X is the most you can make in endorsement deals. I mean, we live in a capitalistic country. We're free market capitalists. If someone's willing to pay you for your time and talents, whatever they're willing to pay you, God bless, go get it. Who are you or me or Brian Keller or the NCAA or anybody to tell some 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old you can't? Imagine telling Caitlin Clark this year you're capped on how much money you can make in NIL. Imagine telling Caleb Williams this year you're capped on how much money you can. You won the Heisman last year, you're back at Southern Cal, but you're capped on the amount of money you can make. Get real. It'll never happen. They will never be able to cap NIL money. The only way we ever get some type of cap is if you're talking about truly paying players as employees, and I don't see that day even close. So the people that'll be inconvenienced the most will continue to be the coaches. And I'm good with that because they're all rich too. All right, it's after further review. I'm excited about this, man. Always enjoy talking to our buddy Chris Trapasso from CBS Sports. We're brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. If you have ever thought about installing a Generac automatic home standby generator, this is the time to call Optimize. Right now, it's April. You know what's going to happen come June, storm season. And the worst time to start thinking about a generator is when the storm's in the Gulf. Be proactive. Do it now. Maybe you got your tax refund. Everyone's thinking, man, I don't know if I can afford that. At Optimize, they have financing options that will fit any budget. So you got to start with that phone call. And the other thing that I'd love to remind you about, if you have a generator already and somebody else installed it, for the rest of this month, through April and through May, Optimize is waiving their initial consultation fee if you would like to have them come out and service your generator. I'm telling you, it is so worth it just to know that thing is going to run and that just seasonal maintenance is done for you. Boom, boom, boom. Optimize can take care of it. So, turnkey install. They handle everything. Optimize is Louisiana's #1 Generac dealer. Nobody in the state of Louisiana sells, services, installs more Generac automatic home standby generators than Optimize, and they service the entire 1012 corridor from Lake Charles to Slidell and every point in between with 4 physical locations, so they're near you no matter where you are on the 1012 corridor. It's Optimize. Go to GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. One more time, GeneratorPeople.com. Okay, it's after further review. Chris Trapasso, CBS Sports NFL Draft Analyst, is next. We'll talk a ton about what the Saints can do at 14, 45. Do they trade up? All those scenarios with our buddy Chris Trapasso when we come back. And if you got draft questions, get them in. Email us, tweet us, text us. We'll get to a lot of it when we return on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. If you are thinking about selling your home, y'all, this is the time. The market is starting to pick up, and it happens every single year without fail. You move toward the spring, and what happens? Kids are getting out of school. If you're relocating for a job, that's when people tend to start selling their home and putting it on the market. Couple that with the fact that interest rates have ticked down, and my goodness, is the market picking up right now. It is so worth giving Darren James a call. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Darren just listed this beautiful home in Prairieville on Christina Avenue. You can check it out. 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,200 square feet. It is gorgeous. It's available right now. If you want to go for a showing, you want to go buy it, do it. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience.
They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150s, $10,000 off the new F-150 truck, plus 1.9% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Man, we are 1 week away from the start of the NFL draft. It's like Christmas for guys like our next guest. Chris Trapasso, CBS Sports NFL draft analyst. Guy's been a good friend of the show and very generous with his time throughout the years. We appreciate him so much. Chris, welcome back, man. Thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me again.
Man, it's always our pleasure. The giant question here with the Saints at 14, everyone, it's sort of this consensus, like, they're going to go tackle, right? But who's most likely to be there at 14, and what scenarios do you see that could potentially unfold for New Orleans there at 14?
Yeah, I think Olu Fashanu is the name I've probably sent in the most mock drafts to the Saints. I personally don't see why there seems to be a little bit of a reputation dip for him during the pre-draft process. I mean, he's plenty long enough. He's young. I thought his 2023 was pretty darn close to his 2022. He probably would have been a late first or an early second round pick last year, if not earlier than that. I think, though, Tailfuanga from Oregon State's going to probably go ahead of him, maybe even Amarius Mims or J.C. Latham from Alabama. And then another scenario would maybe be that Brock Bowers is still on the board at 14. And I think just given what the Saints probably need to do to just add more weapons for Derek Carr, they would probably have to consider him. I mean, of course, it would depend on who else is still available, but those two seem to be, I don't want to say the two most likely scenarios, but it feels like they could be there and they would make sense for New Orleans with that 14th pick.
Let me come back to Bowers in a second, but I want to stay on the tackles. So I'm bullish on Fashanu. I think that would be a great pick. I would love it if it happened that way. How do you rank or rate or grade the tackles that are, because right there's this consensus of like Joe Alt and then the three Fs, as everyone always says, Fuaga, Felice, Fashanu. You mentioned Mims in there as well, Latham. What's the pecking order for you? Maybe a better way to ask it, Chris, is how big of a gap and a differentiator is there among all those guys?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think what we have to remember, and I'm just one opinion out there, but we have to, it's like when we get to this week of the draft for any position, we kind of get into this idea that wherever these players go off the board, if Joe Alt is the first tackle, he's going to be the best one. And if Amarius Mims is the second tackle off the board, he will ultimately be the second best. And that is hardly ever the case at any position. So for me, I think Fashanu is the best overall tackle in this class. I think the size, the length, the balance to his game, the pass protection that he showed. Yes, it was in the Big Ten. It wasn't in the SEC. But I think his potential is all pro caliber, and I don't think it's going to take him long to get there. After that, I have Taofuanga. He's a little bigger. He's kind of that traditional, old-school, strong-side right tackle that can really maul against the run and was a pretty good pass protector at Oregon State. And then after that, I have JT Latham. I'm a little bit lower on Joe Alt. I think the size and the athleticism are there. I just saw him on film winning uglier than I expected. I thought it was going to be the cleanest film of any of these tackles, and I thought it was actually among the elite guys because there's no doubt that he's talented. A lot of recovery plays where he gets beaten and then uses his athleticism to still block the defensive lineman. I think that early on, as he gains strength in that 6'8" frame, could take him some more time than I think people are believing right now to acclimate to the NFL.
He's on Twitter at Chris Trapasso. Okay, so Bowers. If Bowers is there at 14, is he that much of a value proposition that it's like you got to take him and try to get a tackle later in the draft? Just because, and Chris, I maybe would comp it to like when the Saints took Lattimore. Maybe cornerback was their biggest need, but they were like, hell, he was top 5 on our board. He's sitting there at 11. Of course we're going to take that guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's more, it's not just with the draft, like, hey, let's just grade these players and then pick whoever's our number 14 guy. We're picking at 14. Let's pick him. What you mentioned, being able to navigate and understand positional depth in the class, and I'm sure the Saints front office or scouting department knows it even better than I do. But yes, this offensive tackle class is loaded. It is, I think, better than the wide receiver class in terms of just starter depth, complete players that you can get later in the draft. The tight ends are not very good. It's Brock Bowers. I like Ben Sinnott from Kansas State. There's a few names, and I won't be surprised if in 2 or 3 years there's 1 or 2 others that are ultimately solid players. But the cliff from Bowers, even down to Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, who's my tight end too, and Jaheim Bell from Florida State, who I think is a solid player, it's a big gap. The offensive tackles, yes, there are those blue chippers that we've been discussing, but there are guys like Roger Rosengarten. There's Patrick Paul from Houston. There's so many other names, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, where I think we're going to look back and say, hey, it was actually smart of the Saints to just get the best tight end available, even if it's not the best financial decision when it comes to how much you're paying that guy on the rookie deal compared to top of the market deal. But then they were able to kind of swing around and get a Christian Jones from Texas or a Delmar Glaze from Maryland. There's just so many names. Even Nathan Thomas right there in your backyard from Louisiana Lafayette is a really good player who I think is going to be either a great tackle or maybe a Pro Bowl guard at the next level. So, yes, I agree. I think in that situation, you maybe go Bowers and then wait on tackle.
Do you think there are rookie starter offensive lineman opportunities at 45?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just named a few. I mean, certainly more than tight end and maybe some of the other needs. It kind of feels similar to teams are not going to be afraid to pick wide receivers at 45 and plug them in right away. And I think anyone that you bring onto your show who's a draft analyst will at least agree that the offensive tackle class stacks up very closely to the wide receiver group. So if you're not afraid to plug in a wide receiver 2 or 3 with your 2nd round pick, I certainly think in this class, and I already named a few who I think can be a 2nd round pick and can be the right tackle or even left tackle starter. Now, does that mean I think they're going to come in and be amazing instantly? Not necessarily, but I do think starter-capable offensive tackles available on the 2nd day of the draft.
Chris, it helps the Saints that in this class, their 2 most gigantic glaring needs are tackle receiver And these seem to be the two deepest positions in this draft. So play the hypothetical with me. If the Saints get a tackle, whomever it might be, at 14, realistically, what do you think is available for them there at receiver at 45, and what's maybe a best case for them?
Yeah, I think two names stick out to me would be Xavier Leggett from South Carolina, just someone that is big, physical, fast, ran a 4.39 at 220 pounds, 6'1". Not the greatest separator, but can take some of those shorter, maybe more conservative throws from Derek Carr, turn them into big games. That's what he did for Spencer Rattler last season at South Carolina. I know down in your area of the country, they certainly saw that in SEC country last year. Him and Troy Franklin from Oregon, totally different player, speedster, spindly, going to maybe deal with physicality from bigger, stronger corners in the NFL. But when he is given space, and if that can be manufactured for him, not that he's really a gadget guy, but if you can get him a clean release off the line with motion, and certainly last year we saw how the Dolphins really made that motioning at the snap kind of the newest league trend. You get him in those situations, he's going to run by a lot of cornerbacks in the NFL. I think he's faster than his 4.41 speed, very fluid in and out of his breaks, and he tracks the football outstandingly deep. So I know that they have some weapons who can get down the field, but I think either one of those two on either end of the wide receiver spectrum in terms of what flavor you like would make a lot of sense for me if I was picking for the Saints at 45.
A couple more for you. Chris Trapasso is our guest, CBS Sports NFL Draft Analyst. No doubt it's the busy season, so we appreciate it. On Twitter, at Chris Trapasso. Be sure to give him a follow. Chris, as we've had this conversation around the Saints so much, the other notion is we all know the Saints don't have a 3 or a 4, but they are completely incapable of just being patient. So there's no chance that they just sit out until round 5 and then take 4 guys in round 5. Like, they're going to move up somewhere in round 3 or 4, and the most likely position that we talk about here is defensive tackle. So what is there at defensive tackle in round 3 or potentially round 4 that you think could present value for New Orleans when, because I'm not even saying if, Chris, when they move back into day 2 and take a player in round 3?
All right, so I just went with two opposite ends of the spectrum at wide receiver, and I'll do that for defensive tackle. How about Gabe Hall from Baylor, who's like 6'6", 290, 295. He's kind of that, I'm not going to call him J.J. Watt, but he's in that mold where he wants to win with a swim move, a swipe move. He's kind of a finesse player despite being as towering as he is. I think he's one of the better day 3 interior defensive linemen who's a pass rusher. He wants to win up the field and can, even though, you know, he doesn't have that low center of gravity. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I'll keep it local. How about Mekhi Wingo? To just have that burst, to slip through gaps, to just be hard for offensive linemen to get their hands on him. They want to control his kind of smaller frame at the point of attack. He wins just with first step quickness, and certainly Saints and LSU fans know what type of player he can be just based on his athleticism alone. So we don't really know, and you guys probably have a better grasp than I do on what type of defensive tackle they want, but I do think rounds 4 through 5, 6, somewhere in that range, decent depth at the defensive tackle spot, and really would highlight those two, Gabe Hall and obviously the homegrown guy, Mekhi Wingo.
Because before you go, I got one more for you. I know you get this one a ton, but if there is, well, let me get 2 quickly. One, what do you think happens at the top of the draft with the quarterback?
Caleb Williams and then Jaden Daniels. Patriots, I've been asking around, and I'm not even going to say what I get because it's a different answer from every single source. They're going to pick May. They're going to trade back. They love McCarthy. So I don't really think anyone knows besides the people in that Patriots room right now.
You think Jaden goes to Washington?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the guy sleeper that every time you do mocks or you're asked about it, whatever round, whatever position, that you love in this draft that you just don't understand why this person isn't getting more pub?
I'll go with 2 quick ones, both on defense. Chop Robinson from Penn State. I do not get why it's like, maybe late first, early, mid-second. I think his burst bend was outstanding 2 straight years, really productive at Penn State. The pass rush moves kind of came alive a little bit down the stretch. relatively young. There's some older rushers in this class, Verse and Latu, who I like, but they're like almost 2 years older than him. So Chop Robinson, and another one from the SEC, Chris Abrams-Drain from Missouri, that his teammate Ennis Rakestraw gets all the buzz, and he might be a second rounder. When I'm watching Ennis Rakestraw, and then even at the Combine, they measured in similarly, but Abrams-Drain was the one flying downhill, making tackles, great in zone, instincts, was really a sure tackler for being as small as he is against the Georgias and the LSU. So Chris Abrams-Drain, I think, is going to probably be a second or a third round pick if he clears medically with some teams, and he's going to be that kind of Mike Hilton, Trent McDuffie that's just going to be that pesky slot corner that's going to be a really good pro for a long time.
Had a chance to talk to him at SEC Media Days last summer in Nashville. Really impressive young guy, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris Trapasso, hey, man, you're the best. Thank you, as always, for a couple of minutes, man. I know it's a busy time. Thanks for making time for us.
Thanks, man.
All right, be well. Make sure you're following Chris on Twitter, at Chris Trapasso. And those guys are pulled in so many directions this time of year, so can't thank Chris for taking a couple of minutes. Boy, that'd be a dream scenario for the Saints if it plays out that way. All right, quick break. We'll head to Tuscaloosa for we'll continue our SEC spring recaps, looking at the Tide.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan injury attorneys. We're counting down, y'all. Just about 12 more days to go ahead and enter the Gordon's Grads giveaway. Gordon and his team give away a dozen laptops every year. If you or someone you know in your family, a kid, a son, daughter, niece, nephew, is a graduating high school senior going to college or trade school, Gordon gives away a dozen laptops every year. So if they want to enter, it's easy. Just go to gordonsgrads.com. That's gordonsgrads.com. Real easy. gordonsgrads.com. Right there on the homepage, you'll see the form, fill it out, and they'll pick a dozen winners from anywhere in the state of Louisiana, by the way. If you're a graduating high school senior going to college or trade school, go to gordonsgrads.com. And, of course, as we always tell you, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
After further review with Matt Moscona. The SEC Spring Recap on After Further Review, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Well, very obvious reasons. There's probably no more interesting spring situation in the SEC or maybe the entire country than what happened in Tuscaloosa. Nick's retired. It's the Kalen DeBoer era. Our buddy Mark Heim from AL.com and WNSP Radio. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Mark, how are you, man?
Man, I'm good. But I got to be honest, man. I figured the Say Louisiana banned that song. I didn't know y'all had that in the vault. That's you guys have it.
You know, I think if I'm being completely candid, Mark, I think those spring recap intros are probably 10 years old. So it's probably one that's in the vault that just keeps getting recycled every year by this time. Hey, so how did it go, man? Obviously a new voice, a new look, all the stuff. Just a big picture. How did it go?
Yeah, actually it went well. Like, I think there were always going to be questions like, how do you make that transition, right? Like, how do you obviously there's going to be a drop-off, but Kalen DeBoer, do you really want Nick Saban kind of lingering in the building? And man, he's embraced it. I think the fans have embraced him. You saw it. 72,000+ people showed up for the A-Day game. And as you know, these spring games show very little, especially now that they're all being streamed or being televised. Alabama's was televised, so everybody and their grandmother's watching it. But there's not a lot to see during the game. But, man, everybody's embracing it. They got high hopes. You know how fans are. As soon as you question each guy that's a candidate, but when they become your guy, then you defend them to the death.
What do we think about how the offense is going to look or how the offense might change? Have we gotten any sense of that through spring?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, we've seen some kind of jet sweep type stuff that was kind of interesting. Obviously, Jalen Milroe is going to continue to improve. Obviously, the foregone from starter here. I mean, he's gotten some Ty Simpson's gotten some reps. Austin Mack came over from Washington. I'm not real sure why. He played with a bunch of walk-ons during the spring game, but no, Milroe's going to be the guy unless something drastic happens. But I think they've got a couple of questions on the offensive line. Wide receivers a big issue. They got a couple guys there return, but they lost some pretty high-profile guys at some key positions. But you know how it is at Alabama. It's a lot like LSU, man. They just kind of reload. So I feel like this team, take it for what it's worth. Kalen DeBoer said this was a team that only had 6 penalties in 85 plays during the scrimmage. You guys remember what was just a plague of yellow flags last year for Alabama. So you hope that that's been remedied, but I guess time will tell.
Mark Heim is with us, AL.com, WNSP Radio, on Twitter at Mark_Heim. Give him a follow. So the big difference, Mark, this year with other years, obviously, is yes, Alabama loses players, they reload. The difference is you had 33 players, whoever was that hit the portal, so you had a massive amount of turnover. Where are the big, glaring question marks on this roster that need to be addressed in this spring portal window?
Well, I think you have – well, that's the thing. So Kalen DeBoer, I think as recently as today, said as far as the portal's concerned, he may look at a potential – they're one short on the offensive line, probably one short in the secondary. That's as far as he went with that. I would say that you probably have a couple of questions at receiver. Jermaine Burton's in the draft. Isaiah Bond, tight end Amari Niblack, both transferred to Texas. So they're going to need some receivers. Kobe Prentice is the team's top returner. But as you guys probably already know, the Washington transfer, Jeremy Bernard, had a huge day. He had a 3 for $122, real physical guy. So I think with Bernard and Kobe Prentice, you have some stuff there to build around. I think what people are really excited about is true freshman Ryan Williams, Mr. Football here in the state of Alabama, right up 65 from us at Saraland High School. He's a once-in-a-generation type player. That's how he's being built. He's an unbelievable guy. Whether or not he makes an immediate impact, I think people are hoping he will in some form or fashion. I think he's going to be one to keep your eye on. I do think the defensive line returns some studs, guys that are clogging the rushing lane. Tell you how old we are, Matt. Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. had an interception negated by a penalty in the spring game. So yeah, we're getting older. Yeah,
oh my God! Why did you have to say that? Has it been that long? Oh my God!
It's been a long time. Yeah.
I guess we're next year will be season 18 for me covering LSU. I mean, hell, Mark, I had a lot of hair when I started covering this team. I mean, maybe the combination of Les Miles and Ed Ogeron caused me to lose all my hair, or maybe it's just genetics.
It's been an adventure, man. You can say that. You'll have stories for years to tell your grandkids.
That is true. It has never been boring here. Last thing, is everyone there? The one thing that never changes, certainly, is Alabama fans and their expectations. Is there a realistic approach to this season in Tuscaloosa where people are like, it's probably not going to look this year like it's looked for the last, 2 decades? Or are people just like, no, you got to go win a natty?
Come on, man. Ask me a real question. You know the answer to that.
All right, got it. So what you're telling me is Kalen DeBoer is going to be fired within 2 years?
No, he'll definitely be on the hot seat. Now, look, things are right with the 12-team playoff. Obviously, they'll give him a year, but clearly the expectation is in the playoffs. If not an SEC championship. Look, this was a guy that won wherever he went, right? I mean, he's got an incredible record as a head coach. I am of the belief that you got to take at least a half a step back, right? Just one Matt Moscona hair back, right? From after losing Nick Saban. But I think fans feel really good. I think Jalen Milroe being back. I know Caden Proctor, kid that went to Iowa, then turned around and came back.
Sure.
Iowa, self-reported a level 3 violation. Caden Proctor's probably everything that's wrong with the transfer portal in that little microcosm there. But he was a freshman All-SEC guy. He's back. So Kalen DeBoer, once he was named and started recruiting, they didn't lose additional guys, right? There was a big exodus when Saban left. So he's played the game. It's a little different. It's a little less, maybe militant might be the right word to use. Things are a little bit more relaxed around the facility. They're blaring some music. They're having fun. Well, man, we'll see if it translates to the field.
I can't wait to watch this team go 9-3 and that place melt. It's going to be hilarious.
For the record, I want to tell your listeners, so Matt Moscona has been coming on my show for years over at WNSP in Mobile. We got kind of a mixed group, but we're mostly Alabama fans over here, right?
Yes.
This guy went full-fledged LSU Tiger on us. You would have been proud of him. For years, he's come on our show. He's been Mr. Objective, giving great takes, the whole deal. I don't know, man. He was in the Kool-Aid or something. He was all after Alabama.
It's still listen, Mark, I can give you an objective take, but my heart still resides in a place. Like if I think Alabama's going to beat LSU in November, I'm going to tell you that. I'll come on your show and I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And they may. But what I'll tell you undeniably is that every single Alabama fan, the best days of your life as an Alabama fan are over. Like you have reached whatever is the best day of your life as a fan. It's already happened, and it'll never be that again. And that gives me tremendous amounts of joy knowing that everyone in that little crimson empire that has lived this charmed life for nearly 2 decades, like, it is over for you. You're only going to be wanting for the rest of your sports fandom lives because it will never again be as good as it was, ever. So that gives me a lot of joy. Yes, absolutely.
Folks, that's what we call a softball. I just kind of lob it over the plate. He knocks it out of the park. I will say this. I think a lot of Alabama fans might be okay with that if you also assure them that the Mike Price, Dennis Franchione, Mike Shula years, Mike DeBose years were the worst.
You know what, though, Mark?
If you can give them that.
You can't, because there's always that chance. There's always that chance when you go hire a coach. Like, of course, look, Mike Price, guy from Washington State. Guy got Washington State to a Rose Bowl. Of course he's going to be great. Yeah. Oh, wait, he went to a strip club and then got fired before ever coaching a game. Oh, look at that. Like, you never know, man. Kalen DeBoer. Look, we saw it here, man. You had Skip Birdman. They brought in Smoke Laval. It was going to be great. Hell, Smoke got him to Omaha, Mark, but it was just never the same. And we've had championship teams here since then, but it's never the same, ever. It's never going to be the same, bro.
Well, look, when Joe Burrow III commits to Alabama, we'll have you on the show. We'll see if it gets any better. How about that?
Joe Burrow III. Joe Burrow III would be roughly 40 years from now, I would think, approximately, maybe longer. God bless, Mark, if I'm still doing this job in my 80s, something went very wrong. All right, I didn't plan for retirement accordingly.
You know me, man. I got a 76-year-old co-host, bro. It could happen.
Lee is so good, too. That would be Lee Shervanian. All right, Mark, you're the best. Appreciate it. Thanks for the time, as always.
Yeah, enjoyed it, man. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.
All right, we'll see you, man. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. You're in the market for a vehicle, make sure you put Volkswagen on your list. Just put Volkswagen on your list. If you're thinking about a compact SUV, go test drive the Tiguan. You want the family SUV? Of course, they got the Atlas. 3-row, 7-seater family SUV. No matter what type of vehicle you're looking for, they got something on their lot, that's going to be what you're looking for, new or certified pre-owned. You can work out your financing online. You can do it all online and then go test drive one at Airline just north of Highland, South Point Volkswagen. southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay. Jimmy's coming up for Otter Locks. There was another thing I wanted to get to today, and we flat ran out of time. We were loaded up today. Have to do it tomorrow. But there's another portal target potentially for LSU, defensive end out of Pittsburgh, that Tom Luganville said LSU would be a perfect landing spot there. I'm out of time, so we'll have to get to that tomorrow. But you can read about it at ESPN.com if you want. I'll react to it on tomorrow's show. All right. Well, now I got a quick break. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. How did we do last night on Otter Locks? He lost with the Sixers, but we hit with the Bulls.
Yeah, 1-1.
1-1. And did we have an MLB?
No MLB. It was getaway day across
Getaway
the
day.
league.
That's right. So we didn't have any night games last night. So Otter was 1-1 last night in the NBA after going 0-2 the night before in the play-in. So we'll see what the Otters got for us. No NBA games tonight, so hopefully we get on track with the MLB. I mean, he hasn't gone out to Del Mar yet. You would think it just he'll get rolling.
Oh yeah,
he'll get rolling.
He'll hit a stride.
He'll get rolling, but it's a little tough until then.
Mm-hmm.
So just measure yourself. Okay, quick break. Otter Locks next.
AFR.
Y'all, they got live crawfish at Rouse's for $2.99 a pound. You want me to say that again slowly? They got live crawfish at Rouse's for $2.99 a pound. Spring is still here. You want to go have a boil this weekend? Make sure you get your crawfish at Rouse's. They've dropped the prices, $2.99 a pound for live crawfish at Rouse's. You want them boiled? Easy. Go to Rouse's, walk in. They've already got them boiled, bagged, tagged, easy, grab and go for the whole family. They got you covered over at Rouse's, any of the locations. Boiled, hot, and fresh at their in-house boiling rooms every single day there at Rouse's. I actually had Rouse's for lunch today. I tell you this all the time. But go into Rouse's, go to the left. Their hot and ready-made meals are awesome. Like I had a chicken and beef teriyaki bowl with fried rice. It was awesome. It's just grab and go. They got something for the whole family. You want sushi, grab and go. They got it. It's at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off F-150s, $10,000 off the new F-150 truck, plus 1.9% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
The best kept.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Congratulations to the LSU gymnasts. They are headed to the national championship. LSU wins their semifinal, so the Tigers are advancing. 4 teams, the 4 on the floor Saturday for the national championship. 2 tickets are punched, and the LSU Tigers will be in that number coming up on Saturday from Fort Worth. So congrats to Jay Clark and the Tigers. 1 step away, 1 more meet. They went over 198 again here in the semifinals. 1 more meet, your best meet of the year, and you could be LSU's first ever gymnastics national championship. So congrats to the ladies. Okay, it's after further review. One thing left to do. Let's find out. We're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
What's up, Matt?
You know, just wrapping up a show. Good day. Lot going on. You know, hashtag sports and whatnot. And excited. The gymnastics team headed to 4 on the floor. So they advance. And I'm pumped, man. Pumped about it.
Good.
Yeah.
I had them advancing to the finals, so we're good.
Did you get a little
Yeah.
you had a little action on it? No.
We tried. We couldn't find anything. But anyway, we did.
I don't know.
We did try.
If anybody can find it, I believe it's you.
Well, that's the theme tonight, because Major League Baseball, you had 2 games remaining, and 1 in Wrigley Field has been postponed. So you have 1 at Arizona and San Francisco. Okay, it's the last night of the NHL. Colucci!
Yeah!
I said, Colucci, come on, last day of the regular season. You got anything? I don't bet the last day of the regular season. Oh, okay. Well, wonderful.
So we got nothing? We're dry tonight?
Spaghetti, honey. Well, this is what we're doing tomorrow. Oh, look, man, everybody knows about the Pels injuries and this and that, and Sacramento. Look, Keegan Murray can't go 75% from three-point range again, all right? We're taking the Pels tomorrow night, and plus the 1.5, going to buy it to 2 at the blender against Sacramento.
I'm going money line on the Pels. Bleep that.
Yeah. And when it's that low, that's fine. What is it, plus 20, 25, something like that?
Plus 105.
105?
Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is I'm going to go with the Miami Heat, the injured Heat at home, so against the Bulls. So we're going to go with that. I got you a Saturday pick also.
Let's go. I'm ready.
T-Wolves against the Suns. Suns beat them last day of the regular season. We know about that because the Pels had forced them into the play-in. They've beaten them 3 out of 3 this year. But, man, big effort by the T-Wolves here, especially early, Matt. Betting T-Wolves plus the 1.5, but or minus the 1.5, but also betting them first quarter and first half in that game.
Okay.
We're looking for a big effort in that one at home.
All right, so that's the Saturday game. So T-Wolves minus the 1.5 also the first quarter and the first half?
Yes.
All right.
And,
I'm looking at it. So the first half, they're just -1. So you're laying the 1 there in the first half?
Yes.
Okay. And then quarters, I'm looking at, so it's a half a point at the first quarter. Okay, got it. All right, we're locked in. I love it. Big effort from Minnesota. Let's go. Come on, Nas Reed. Should have stayed.
Alabama Crimson Tide +190 at home against A&M tonight.
Wait, are you throwing out a college baseball number for me? I'm so
Just
happy
did.
right now. Wait, we're going Alabama +190?
Yes, and then Calgary.
1 minute remaining.
Half goal.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say it again. The drop interrupted you.
San Jose, Calgary, both out of it. They're just going to be skating around, playing around, popping it in. Nobody's playing defense. I get over 6. It's 6.5 now, but over 6.5 in that one.
Okay, I love it. So they're going to be skating around and not playing defense.
You want the late double at Turfway Park too? I mean, you
Yeah,
gotta find something.
Give me whatever you got. All right, Rufino's for Otter and Handy tomorrow on a Friday.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Otter. Have a great night. I'm looking forward to Calgary in the Sharks. See ya. They're out of it. They're just going to be skating around, not playing defense. We'll see you tomorrow.
AFR.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $11,000 off the new 23 Dodge Charger. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $11,000 off the powerful new Charger. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage